A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Bunko Fugitive Detail. A secretary tells you her employer has suddenly left town. She says he's taken all the company records with him. Your job? Check it out.
It was Monday, May 18th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Bunko Fugitive Detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from lunch, and it was 1:46 p.m. when we got to room 38. Bunko Fugitive.
Sergeant Friday?
That's right.
They told me to see you.
Yes, ma'am. It's my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do?
Good afternoon.
My name's Gibbons. Clara Gibbons.
Would you like to sit down there?
Thank you.
All right.
Well?
Yes, ma'am.
It isn't anything when you put your finger on it. At least, it isn't anything I'm sure of.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't even my idea. Coming to the police. Mama said my mother advised me to discuss this matter with you.
I see.
She's always claimed there was something funny about my job. She said this just goes to prove it. I'm sure she's mistaken. Sure, Mr. Orlean wouldn't do anything wrong.
Mr. Orlean?
Oh, he's my boss, my employer, Henry Orlean.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, he's disappeared.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
And when did you see him last?
Friday. Friday evening when I left the office, 5 p.m.
Have you checked with his home?
I don't know where he lives. He never told me.
I see.
He's never gone out of town before. Not since I started working for him.
Well, how long has that been?
7 months. 7 months on the 3rd.
What kind of business is he in?
Uranium. Uranium stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple Uranium Investments Incorporated. That's the name of his company.
I see.
Well, don't the other employees have any idea where he went?
There aren't any other employees. I'm the only one.
Oh, I see.
Have you talked to missing persons?
No, I haven't. You see, Mama doesn't think he's missing. She says he skipped out, that he's a crook.
Does your mother know this, Mr. Orlean?
Only what I've told her about him. They've never met. She's been suspicious from the very beginning, though.
Afraid I don't follow you.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain.
How's that?
Well, you see, the thing is, Mama just can't understand why he ever hired me. The employment office sent me to see him, along with 7 or 8 other secretaries. Mr. Orlean picked me out from all the rest.
Was there something strange in that?
Well, the truth is, I'm not much of a stenographer. Not a real good one, that is. I get kind of nervous whenever I have to take dictation, and my typing's just fair, too. I could do real clean copy if they'd just let me take my time, but they never do.
Is that right?
Except for Mr. Orlean. He doesn't rush me or get me all upset. It's the first time I've ever been able to hang on to a job. Pays awful good. $20 a week, more than I ever earned before.
That's all.
Mom couldn't believe it when I told her. She said there was a catch to it someplace.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be different if if I wasn't plain. 2 or 3 of the other girls who tried out for Mr. Orlean, they were very attractive, and they all had nice clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Mama sure was surprised when I told her he'd picked me. There's a catch to it somewhere, that's how she put it. He's up to something, and he wants a secretary who's not too bright.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to need more than that to start an investigation, Miss Gibbons.
Yes, sir. I see. Well, thank you very much.
Just a minute. Does he owe you any back wages?
Oh, no. I'm paid up a month in advance.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing that seemed funny. I mean, when you think about it now, it seems funny.
Well, what do you mean?
My being with him less than a year and him wanting me to take a vacation with pay, a whole month off.
How'd that come about?
Well, it was just last week, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
A week ago today when he brought up the subject. He said it was getting on toward summer and I ought to start thinking about where I wanted to go on my vacation.
Yeah.
I told him I didn't feel entitled to a vacation yet. He just smiled and said it was up to him to decide that. That he's the boss, wasn't he? Then he insisted I tell him just where I wanted to go. I couldn't think of any place at all. He finally asked me why I didn't visit my sister in Hawaii.
I see.
She's married to a Navy officer stationed in Honolulu. I guess I must have mentioned her to Mr. Orland. I guess that's how I knew about her.
Yes, ma'am, must be.
But the idea of ever paying her a visit hadn't even crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to argue with him, but he pretended to get mad and told me if I was a good enough secretary to deserve a holiday, he's going to see that I got it. And then he said he'd make up for it when I got back, that he'd really pour the work on.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he wasn't serious about pouring the work on, but it did seem like he really wanted me to go to Hawaii.
Well, why didn't you take him up on it?
Well, I meant to. I had my ticket. Round-trip flight. Mr. Orland paid for it, just like he said he would.
Yeah.
I was supposed to leave Saturday night. I sent Ann an airmail letter telling her all about the trip. That's my sister, Ann Burcott.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday morning, she wired me not to come. Her husband's being transferred in a week or two. Well, she wasn't sure where. Maybe back to the States.
I see.
Oh, I suppose I could have made the trip anyway, but it wouldn't be any fun going someplace where I didn't know anybody. I don't make friends very easy.
Is that so?
Well, I didn't know just what to do, whether Mr. Orland would still want me to take the month off or not. I went down to the office this morning to talk to him about it. He wasn't there. Everything was gone.
Yeah?
From the safe, all records and stock certificates, everything. And corporation papers he had framed up on the wall, they were gone, too.
Had somebody broken in?
I don't think so. The door to the suite was locked when I got there. I had my key.
And what about the safe?
I don't understand.
Well, was the safe open or closed?
Closed.
Well, how'd you happen to look inside?
I telephoned my mother and told her that Mr. Orland wasn't there, and she said I'd better check and see if anything was missing. Said it sounded to her like he'd skipped out.
Mm-hmm.
After I looked in the safe, she told me to get in touch with the police.
Well, now, just exactly what sort of business was this uranium company?
Mr. Orland invested in various uranium stocks.
For other people?
Yes, that's right.
Which bank did he use?
Western National. The account's in the main branch.
I'll give him a call, Jim.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there just wouldn't be any reason for him to run away, would there?
Well, it's pretty hard to tell, yeah.
I mean, he was doing a real good business.
Well, that might be a reason.
Oh?
Do you know the names of his customers?
Well, the people who invested in Mr. Orland?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I could remember some of them. The books are gone, though. I wouldn't be able to recall them all.
I see.
The old customers, the ones who've been with us for several months, I'd remember them.
Uh-huh. Was the business new when you started to work with it?
Yes, sir, brand new.
Find out anything?
Yeah. Orlean closed out the multiple uranium bank account last Friday evening, a little before 6.
6?
Yeah. Banks stay open late on Fridays,
Oh,
Joe.
yeah, I forgot. How much did he withdraw?
Just under 100,000.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
I guess Mama was right about him.
It's starting to look that way.
I should have known. From the beginning, I should have known.
What?
She's always right.
While Frank put in a call to Sacramento to check on the corporate status of multiple uranium investments, I asked Clara Gibbons to give me a detailed description of the suspect. 2:28 p.m., Sacramento reported that no such corporation had ever been authorized. We ran the name Henry Orlean through R&I. They had nothing on him. We turned the description and MO over to the stats office. They came up with 7 possible stock fraud artists. We pulled their mug shots and showed them to Miss Gibbons. She was unable to identify any of the pictures. 3:07 p.m., Miss Gibbons accompanied us to the Wendler building on Wilshire Boulevard in the Miracle Mile. We went up to Suite 4D.
Just a second till I find my key.
Yes, ma'am.
Here it is. This is the outer office where I work.
Mm-hmm.
That's his office in there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's real fancy.
Have you talked to the building manager today?
No, sir.
Is he around, do you know?
Well, there isn't any manager. Not exactly. The owner has an office down the hall.
Oh.
I'll be glad to find out if he's in.
Thank you.
You'll be here?
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Very impressive quarters, huh?
Must have been a very impressive guy.
Yeah. Look at that, Joe. I wonder what he had up there.
Hmm?
Up on the wall. See that spot? Looks like there used to be a picture or something.
Well, those incorporation papers, maybe, huh?
Phonies?
I don't know. As far as the state of California is concerned, they're phonies.
Mm-hmm.
This is Mr. Wendler. Mr. Wendler is Sergeant Friday.
How are you?
I do.
And this is... I'm awfully sorry. I don't seem to remember your name.
It's all right. My name's Frank Smith. Well, pleased to meet you.
This is our identification, you must say.
Forget it.
Uh-huh.
Well?
You're the owner of this building, are you?
Well, it's the Wendler building. I'm Ted Wendler.
Yes, sir.
Draw your own conclusions.
Yeah. Do you have any objection to answering a few questions, Wendler?
No?
All right, will you answer them for us, please?
I thought I was.
Yes, sir. I asked you one before. Do you own this building?
Outright.
That isn't important.
Well, it's important to me. It's important to the mortgage company.
Is it in your name?
Yes, it's in my name.
All right, fine.
And what about the man who rented this suite?
Orlean?
Yes, sir.
Well, what about him?
Do you know he left town?
Well, she just told me.
Did you know about it before?
No.
What can you tell us about him?
He's a broker or something. Uranium stocks, I guess.
Yeah, we got that much.
That's all you know about him, huh?
Yeah?
How long has he rented from you?
Let's see, a little over 7 months. Be 8 on the 3rd.
Did he mention anything about where he had offices before?
No, he said he was from back east.
Any particular place?
No. Why, what's he done?
We'd like to talk to him, that's all.
Well, maybe he'll come back.
Uh-huh.
Well, if he doesn't, it's all the same to me.
What?
I made him pay his rent in advance whole first year.
Is that your usual practice?
No, only with fellas in the stock market. You see, I remember 1929.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen, not with fellas in the market.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I remember 29.
Yeah.
If Orlean stays away, I'm way ahead of him. Rent's paid up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nearly 5 months ahead of him.
Yes, sir. I wish we were. Ted Wendler confirmed Miss Gibbons' description of the suspect and insisted he could tell us nothing further about the man. While a crew from the crime lab went over the offices, we again questioned Clara Gibbons. She gave us the names and addresses of some of the people who had invested money with Orlean. 4:48 p.m., the crime lab reported that they'd been unable to discover any useful fingerprints in the suite. The only physical evidence they had uncovered was a copy of a prospectus which purported to list various securities owned by multiple uranium investments. It had fallen behind a filing cabinet. The next day, May 19th, Frank and I checked with several of the uranium companies listed on the prospectus. They all informed us that none of their stock had ever been purchased by Multiple Uranium Incorporated or Henry Orlean. 3:13 p.m., Frank and I drove out to interview one of the victims.
Would you like to sit down?
Thank you. Miss Custis, do you know a man named Henry Orlean?
Yes. Yes, I know him. Why?
Did you ever invest any money with him?
$5,000. Nothing's happened to Mr. Orlean.
We're not sure yet.
How'd you happen to give him the money?
Well, it was some insurance my husband left me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd kept it in savings. Didn't bring in much interest. When I heard about Mr. Orlean's company...
Where'd you hear about it? You remember?
At the hospital.
Ma'am?
St. Agnes Children's Hospital.
Oh?
I spend a day a week there helping out in the charity ward.
I see.
I'm on some of the committees, too. You know, fundraising, things like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm not one of the big people behind the work, but somebody has to get out and dig for the little donations, too.
Yes, ma'am, they do.
And I have quite a bit of free time now.
Do you remember who it was that first mentioned Mr. Orlean to you?
I think it was Mrs. Lorrington.
Warrington?
Yes, Mrs. Arthur Lorrington. You must have heard of her. She does so much charity work around town. She's very prominent socially.
Yes, ma'am. Just what did she say about Mr. Orlean's company?
Well, she wasn't talking to me exactly. One afternoon, when she was showing some people the plans for the new clinic,
Mm-hmm.
I guess she was asking them for some contributions. That's how it sounded. And one of the ladies said it all depended on how well her husband's stocks did during the next quarter.
Oh, I see.
And Mrs. Lorrington laughed and told her her husband ought to be in multiple uranium, but he wouldn't have anything to worry about.
Go on.
Well, that was all I heard. They went on to the next room. Afterwards, I got to thinking, if this uranium stock was good enough for Mrs. Lorrington, maybe I ought to check into it. You know, you're always hearing about people making fortunes in uranium.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I looked up the company in the phone book and talked to Mr. Orlean. First, he wasn't very anxious for me to invest, but when I told him I knew Mrs. Lorrington, he said he'd take me in as a favor to her.
When was all this?
Oh, about 4 months ago.
Have you seen Mr. Orlean since?
No,
You heard from him?
not directly. I get a dividend check every month, though. Stock's paying very well. I figured it out. On a yearly basis, it'll come to over 30%. You can't do much better than that.
No, ma'am.
I told some of my friends about it, too, so they could get in on it.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you very much, ma'am.
You still haven't explained what this is all about.
Well, we're trying to get in touch with Mr. Orlean, that's all.
Oh, the Wendler building on Wilshire Boulevard. That's where his office is, the Wendler
Yes,
building.
ma'am.
Isn't he there?
No, he isn't.
I don't understand.
Orlean seems to have disappeared.
What about my money?
I'm afraid that went with him.
Why, that isn't possible. He couldn't have. Mrs. Lawrence said it was a good stock.
Yes, ma'am. We'll talk to her about it.
Well, he paid me dividends every month. Good dividends.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't count on any more of them.
What? Why, I'll bring charges against him. I'll have him put in jail. He'll find out. But that's all you need, isn't it? Somebody to bring charges?
No, ma'am, not quite.
Well, what do you mean?
We need him. Frank and I left Mrs. Custis and drove out to interview another victim, Mrs. J.T. Pressing on Highland Avenue. She told us that she had invested $8,000 in multiple uranium. She also told us that she had first heard about the stock through a friend who was on the fundraising committee for St. Agnes Hospital. We interviewed 3 more victims. All of them were in some way associated with the hospital or were acquainted with Mrs. Arthur Lorrington. 8:45 p.m., we drove up to the Lorrington estate in Bel Air. A maid showed us into the library and said that Mrs. Lorrington would see us in a few minutes.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
That's her.
Hmm?
Up there on the wall, that painting. That's Mrs. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Saw it in the Sunday paper once. Society page.
Mm-hmm.
Real honest to gosh artist, did it?
You don't say.
Mm-hmm. Probably flatters her a lot.
Maybe.
Well, it's bound to.
What makes you think so?
Well, it stands to reason, Joe. If all a person wants is a good likeness, a photographer ought to do the trick.
Yeah.
Artists know that, too.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Figures they want something else. Want to look better, so he flatters them.
Oh, I see.
That's the way it works.
Are you gentlemen waiting for me?
Ms. Lorrington?
That's right.
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Well, I'm sure it's my husband you want to talk to. Unfortunately, he's in San Francisco on a business
No,
trip.
ma'am. We'd like to talk to you if you don't mind. You know a man named Henry Orlean?
Orlean?
That's it, yeah.
The name sounds familiar, but I meet so many people, it's hard to be certain.
Have you ever heard of a stock called Multiple Uranium Incorporated?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, I didn't associate the two for a moment. That's Mr. Orlean's company, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any money invested in that stock?
No, not me personally, but I can vouch for the company if that's what you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I'm on the fundraising committee for St. Agnes Hospital. Matter of fact, I'm the chairman.
Yes, ma'am, we know.
And we do own some of Mr. Orlean's stock. The hospital, that is.
But tell us, how'd you happen to buy it?
Oh, we didn't. It was a donation.
Would you mind telling us from who?
Oh, no, not a bit. Mr. Orlean himself.
I see. When did he give it to you?
Last year, September. Yes, it was September. The Charity Bazaar. I don't recall the exact date, but I can find out for you.
Well, September's close enough. Just what was this bazaar?
A party here at my home. We opened the grounds to the general public. A garden party and auction combined.
An auction.
Mm-hmm. Some of the most picked people donated the items we sold, and all the money went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We raised over $25,000, not counting what Mr. Orlean gave us.
Mm-hmm. That's the stock donation.
That's right. He congratulated me on the bazaar. He seemed to be very interested in charity work. I said we would certainly use his help, and he offered to do whatever he could.
What?
He said that unfortunately he couldn't give us cash at the moment. He mumbled something about a tax problem. I'm not really too clear about those things. Everyone seems to be having tax problems nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of an outright gift, he offered us a block of stock in his company.
I see. Now, just how much stock was involved?
500 shares, I think. Yes, something like that. At any rate, he said the market value of what he was giving us would be in the neighborhood of $10,000.
Did he tell you anything else about it?
He didn't go into the details of his corporation, and I certainly didn't question him. You don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yes, ma'am.
All I recall, he said his company owned shares in other uranium companies so that the money was well diversified.
Now, was that all?
Yes, I believe so. Except that he made one request.
What was it?
He asked me not to sell the stock for at least a year.
Did he give you a reason?
Oh, yes. He said that within a year's time it would double in market value. And in the meantime, the hospital would be receiving excellent dividends.
I see.
As a matter of fact, the dividends have been remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Something like $500 a month, I believe our treasurer told me. Mr. Orlean must be a very shrewd investor.
Did you ever discuss this uranium stock with any of your friends, Mrs. Lawrence?
Why, yes, once or twice. One of our committee meetings, when we were going over the books, we were surprised at the return it was paying us. We all talked about it then. I suppose I may have mentioned it since.
Mm-hmm.
Just in conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Mr. Orlean upset that I told other people about his company? I didn't know he wanted it kept secret.
No, he wanted you to tell him.
Well, then.
Several people that you discussed multiple uranium with invested in the company as a result.
It's a perfectly sound investment.
No, ma'am.
What?
Orlean has disappeared, and so has their money.
I'm sure you're mistaken.
The stock he sold him was phony. So was the stock he gave your hospital fund.
It couldn't be. Look at the dividends it paid.
It was just good advertising.
You mean he used the hospital? He used me?
I'm afraid so.
I just don't know what to say. Well, I've never been involved in a situation like this before.
Yes, ma'am.
It's terribly distressing. I know it's not my fault, but I can't help thinking I should have been more careful, more discreet. Well, I'm sorry. I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me. I don't feel like talking anymore. I'm very upset.
We understand.
Anita will show you out.
We'll find a way. Let's go.
Oh. I was just looking at that painting up there again. No, I was right, Joe. Flatters her.
The interview with Mrs. Lorington had enabled us to establish the suspect's M.O. Additional bulletins were sent out alerting all police departments, charity organizations, and fundraising committees. During the rest of the week, we interviewed other victims of the stock swindle. None of them could furnish any additional information about the whereabouts of the man who called himself Henry Orlean. 3 weeks later, on June 9th, we received a report from the Chicago Police Department. They informed us that a man answering Orlean's description had worked an oil stock swindle in that city during the previous year. He had then used the name of Roger Norgett. They also told us that this Norgett was suspected of an earlier stock swindle in Kansas City. Neither the Chicago nor Kansas City police had a positive identification of the suspect, but in both cities, the M.O. had been the same. The suspect had donated a block of phony stock to a charitable organization, had paid very high dividends on the donated shares, and then had been able to acquire investments from private persons. Wednesday, June 11th, 3:17 p.m. Frank and I were in the office.
Sergeant Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
You remember me? Clara Gibbons. I used to work for
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Orlean.
How are you? What can we do for you?
Mama just found him. Mama just found him. Mr. Orlean.
Where?
Over on Hill Street. She was just walking along and she saw him.
Is she sure it's him?
Positive. Please hurry.
Just a minute, Miss Gibbons.
Yeah, what is it?
Didn't you tell us your mother had never seen this man?
Well, she's seen him now. He was walking down Hill
Well, how does
Street.
she know it's him if she never saw him before?
I told her what he looked like dozens of times, all about him.
I see.
For heaven's sake, you don't have to see a person to know what he looks like. Mama would recognize Mr. Orlean anywhere. She's said so half a dozen times. She can describe him better than I can.
Oh.
My mother's very intelligent, Sergeant. She's not like me. Now, please don't stand here and argue about it, or he'll get away.
Well, just where is he?
The Norridge Hotel, corner of Hill and Haldane.
I thought your mother saw him on the street.
Well, she followed him into the hotel. She didn't want to lose him. He went upstairs, and she telephoned me from the lobby. She said she'd wait there to make sure he didn't leave.
Oh, I see.
She told me to bring you as soon as I could. It's nearly half an hour since she called me. We haven't got much
All right,
time.
Miss Gibbons. All right, we'll check on it right away.
You're going to arrest him, aren't you?
If it's the right man.
Well, of course it's the right man.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me a minute.
Do you have to answer it now?
Bunko Fugitive Friday. Yeah, that's right. I see. Fine. Okay. We'll forward our warrant to you. Will you send us a notification by telegram? Thank you. We sure are. Many thanks. Salt Lake City Police Department.
Yeah?
Picked up Orlean this morning. Tabbed him from our circular.
They sure it's him?
Gave him a full confession. Admitted the KC and Chicago deals, too.
But it couldn't be Mr. Orlean. He's at the Norridge Hotel.
Well, Miss Gibbons, I'm afraid your mother was mistaken.
I've never known Mama to make a mistake.
Well, we all make them.
Well, she's waiting for us at the hotel. What'll I tell her?
Well, let's see. I guess there's only one thing.
What's that?
Tell her not to wait.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 16th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Francis Caxton Wheatley, alias Henry Orlean, alias Roger Norgett, was tried and convicted of grand theft, 7 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for no more than 1 year, or in the state prison for not less than 1 or more than 10 years. Holds were placed on the suspect by the states of Illinois and Missouri at the termination of his sentence in San Quentin.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
presents The Bob Hope Show, transcribed direct from Hollywood with Les Brown and his band of renown. For Jell-O, yours truly, Bill Goodwin. Our singing star, Margaret Whiting. Our special guest, Jack Webb. And here he is, Bob Hope. Thank you very, very much. Well, here I am still going steady with Jell-O. I don't know what it is, but there's something about my personality that sells those 6 delicious flavors, especially lemon. I'm very happy to be here tonight. I've been keeping my fingers crossed all week with this flu that's going around. It's really an epidemic, you know. In fact, there's so much flu in show business that Phil Spitalny is advertising Evelyn and her magic thermometer. One doctor had so many cases of flu, he rented a helicopter and sprayed Pasadena with penicillin. And Jane Russell's got a slight cold. Doctors came from as far away as Alaska for the examination. I was right there with my stethoscope. I was hoping for a quarantine. And, you know, everyone thought Marie Wilson had the flu because she bought a couple of handkerchiefs with her to the studio. But it turned out they were her costume. She gets the flu now, she's really in trouble. And those cold germs are everywhere. On the Lawrence Welk show, that bubbling music is now done with Alka-Seltzer. I tuned in and heard Crosby singing the other night. I'm sure he's sick. And people are staying home on account of this epidemic. There's so few cars in the streets, it disrupted traffic on Sunset Boulevard. To have an accident now, you have to make an appointment. And I hear that Phil Harris is flat on his back. Of course, with Phil, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could just be hardening of the old Forester. Phil Harris really does have an ailment, you know. He has termites. He got them from breathing in too much sawdust. I got the sniffles and rushed to Hollywood Hospital last night, and I must have gotten in the wrong entrance. At 3 a.m, a nurse woke me up and said, "Congratulations, it's the 7-pound boy." But there's one sure remedy for flu. You drink a glass of hot lemon juice while breathing into a paper bag with a belladonna plaster on your back, and at the same time you inhale menthol in your nose while you keep your feet in a hot mustard bath. On second thought, it's easier just to go. My doctor told me to be very careful during this outbreak. He said to avoid everything that might pass germs from one person to another, even money. So I took his advice. I went out to Santa Anita. Going to Santa Anita is rough. It takes so much out of me. Santa Anita is sort of a garbage disposal with money. Santa Anita's in a beautiful setting. Mountains on one side, hock shops on the other. I haven't seen so much money go down the drain since Crosby luxed out his money belt. And it was really a big crowd out there. Santa Anita hasn't been affected much by inflation. They still have a lot of $2 windows, only now they're in the Coca-Cola machine. I have a system of betting, and I've never had to walk home yet, for one very good reason. There's no window where you can bet your car. I finally got a horse that could win a race. They let him run all by himself. And on the last race, I bet every cent I had. And my horse would have won, but he had a cautious streak in him. He followed along behind the other horses, yelling, "This is just reckless, fellas, going so fast in all this smog." Don McNeil. Say, Bill.
Yes, Bob.
Bill, what's that string tied around your finger for?
String? What string?
Oh, you mean this one here? That's to remind me to ask the folks in the audience a question.
Oh, what's the question?
I've forgotten. Would it have anything to do with Jell-O?
It's about Jell-O.
Well, who cares about getting their paycheck this week?
Who cares about Jell-O? Everybody cares about Jell-O, Bob, and I'll tell you something that folks like extra special. And that's those wonderful Jell-O salads. Which reminds me of my question.
And that is?
Folks, have you served a Jell-O salad?
Now we're going.
Have you served a Jell-O salad lately? If you haven't, your family is missing out on a real meal snapper-upper. Real meal snapper-upper?
Yeah. Bill, what kind of language is that? What you mean is that the crisp, refreshing flavor of a shimmering Jell-O salad is just the thing to add that piquant, delicate touch that transforms a run-of-the-mill dinner into a gourmet's delight.
Yeah, like I said, a real meal snapper-upper. And, folks, the Jell-O salad helps you avoid that last-minute rush at mealtime. Make it in the morning, set it in the refrigerator, and forget about it. And then when dinner time rolls around, there's no fuss or bother required. All you have to do is set that cool, colorful Jell-O salad on the table and let the family do the rest.
Yeah, and gals, you'd better get your own share early, because take my word for it, once the kids get at that Jell-O salad, man, it goes.
Well, they eat it all, huh?
Bill, my kids even eat the shimmer.
Well, take a hint, gals. Make a Jell-O salad for your family tomorrow. Voice you'll hear will be that of Jack Webb, star of Chesterfield's great radio and television series, Dragnet. Tonight, in his role as Sergeant Joe Friday, he will take us step by step through the investigation of a criminal case.
It was Monday, January 20th. It was cool in Los Angeles, topcoat weather. I was working a day watch on a homicide. My name's Friday. The boss, Captain Kresnick, told me to expect a new partner. I don't know too much about this officer. He's just been transferred to the detective division. Supposed to be a hot shot. Now, we'll see. 9:40 a.m. The door opened.
Anyone for criminals?
Who are you?
I'm Officer Hope. Captain Kresnick told me to report here. Are you Sergeant Friday?
That's right.
Well, we're detectives. Let's catch a crook. I got my badge, my blackjack, my handcuffs, my gun, and a bus ticket to San Diego.
Bus ticket to San Diego?
Yeah, in case of trouble, I'll go there till it blows over.
All right, sit down, Hope. Let's get acquainted.
Okay.
You know something? You look a lot like Bob Hope.
I can't help it. I was in an accident.
Now, it's a pretty fair patch-up job. Hope, where you been working in the department?
I was in uniform in the traffic detail.
That's all.
I was pretty good at it, too. I handed out 3,000 parking tickets a day.
3,000 a day? How could you do that?
I put the tickets on the cars before they left the factory.
Well, it sounds like you enjoy your work.
Yeah, I love being in the force. I've always been a cop.
Always?
Sure, the day I was born, the doctor slapped me, and I arrested him for assault and battery.
Well, now you're in the detective division.
Yeah, and I figure I ought to do pretty good. I can smell a crime a mile away.
Yeah, well, you sure got the equipment.
Think so.
Hope you might as well start learning about your new assignment.
Okay, Sergeant.
Now, in the police department, they refer to the detective division as the brains.
The brains, huh?
Yeah. How come you got transferred?
Well, it was kind of a reward. You see, I caught that bank bandit, Grandma.
No kidding. How'd you swing that?
Well, I found out she was hanging around a certain bar, so I went in there and slipped a Mickey in her Lydia Pinkham's.
Nice work.
It was a real struggle taking her in. I got hurt.
You did, huh?
Yeah, I backed into one of her knitting needles. When I was questioning her, I had the feeling she kind of went for me.
Yeah, you'd make a lovely couple.
Well, I'm all through with romance.
What's the matter, no girlfriend?
I had a girl, went steady with her. For 3 years, we were never out of each other's sight.
In love?
No, I lost the keys of the handcuffs. Look, Friday, what are we sitting around here for? Let's get on a case. Let's go somewhere and snoop.
All right, take it easy. You'll get your chance.
I'm ready to. I've been practicing my jiu-jitsu.
Pretty good at it, huh?
Good, I'm perfect. I even invented a jiu-jitsu hold of my own. It's unbeatable. No matter what you try to do to me, I can throw you over my head right into that corner. Go ahead, make a pass at me. I'll show you.
Okay, here I come.
No, don't just stand there. Pick me up.
Now, you listen, Hope. I don't mind you being a beaver, but there are a couple of things. I'll get it. Homicide Friday. Yeah. Yeah. How long ago? Yeah. Okay, got it. What is it? Guy just been found dead. 16 Connolly Street. Looks like murder. Let's go. A.m. Hope and I got a car out of the police garage and headed for Hollywood. 10:42. We arrived at 16 Conway Street. It was one of those white stucco apartment hotels. We parked the car, and on the way in, I got all the available facts from the patrolman on duty at the door. The murdered man's name was Barney Dean. He was a theater manager, lived alone. Seemed to be a respectable citizen, or was a respectable citizen. One of the tenants in the building had discovered the body and called the police. 11 a.m. Hope and I entered the murdered man's apartment. The coroner was there, just getting ready to leave. Hi, Doc.
Hello, Sergeant. That's the body right there. Who's this with you?
Oh, that's my partner, Detective Hope. New man, first case.
Hello, son. First case, huh? Ever see a real stiff stretched out before?
Yes, New Year's Eve. Who was it?
Huh?
Who was it?
Me.
Say, Doc, any idea of the cause of death?
Well, he was struck from behind with a blunt instrument, causing the collapse of the posterior section of the cranial cavity, cutting the vascular system and splintering the medulla oblongata.
I'd like to see the Blue Cross plan fix that.
Well, I gotta be on my way. Good luck with your first case, son.
Thanks, Doc.
And if you're ever down at the mall, be sure and drop in.
Okay, and if you're not there, I'll lie down and wait for you.
So long, Friday.
Man, I wouldn't have his job for anything, fooling around with stiffs at the morgue all day. Yeah, same thing when he gets home. He lives in Pasadena. Hey, Friday, I got a feeling about this case. I think that guy laying there on the floor was leading a double life. Respectable theater manager half the time, hoodlum the other half. Are you kidding? No, you can never tell. Just last week, the FBI picked up an innocent-looking guy who had a terrific racket. What was he doing? Smuggling Democrats into Washington. Friday, sorry. Sometimes my sense of humor almost gets away from me. Yeah, well, you can't blame us for trying. All right, we got work to do here, Hope. Grab this tape measure and take some measurements. I'll write them down. Right. Here we go. Distance from body to floor, 11 feet. 11 feet. Distance to window, 39 inches. Right. Neck 13 inches, waist 26 inches, hips 33 inches. Oh, get away from that wall. Stop measuring that Marilyn Monroe calendar. Thanks. Another minute, my badge would have melted. See you later, honey.
What's going on here? What's all the excitement?
Who are you?
I'm the landlady, and I... Oh, Mr. Dean, what's happened? Get up off the floor. You'll catch your death of cold.
Look, lady, we're afraid there's been some trouble here. Mr. Dean is dead.
What? Well, don't just stand around. Do something. Call the automobile club.
All right, now calm down, ma'am. We're police officers. We'd just like to ask you a few questions here.
Police officers?
That's right. I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Detective Hope. How do you do?
Oh, I've seen your face before. Have you been in an accident?
Ma'am, there's been a murder.
Poor Mr. Dean.
Oh, you two were friendly.
Oh, yes. We even took dancing lessons together. Now I'll have to call up and cancel.
That's right. It takes two to tango. Lady, where were you yesterday?
Right here in the building, in my apartment on the ground floor. I watched television all day long. I didn't leave my TV set for a minute.
Why not?
I heard a rumor Lucille Ball might do it again.
Look, lady, how does it happen you weren't here when Mr. Dean's body was discovered?
I was out doing my shopping.
Shopping, eh?
Yes. I bought eggs, butter, milk, bread, and, of course, Jell-O.
All right, what do you mean, of course, Jell-O?
Why, now's the time for Jell-O. It's America's favorite dessert. I always buy it. Jell-O has a delicious, fruity, rich flavor. And it's so easy to prepare. Oh, goodness me, nobody should be without it.
I'm never without it. I sleep with my head between two bowls of Jell-O. Just lie there all night long, quivering. All right, I'll handle this, Hope. Okay, Friday. Now, let's get this straight, ma'am. You say you've been down at the store buying Jell-O.
That's right. Strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and lime.
How does her alibi sound to you, Hope?
Delicious.
Now we'll have to check her story. How do we know she was out buying Jell-O this morning?
I'd be a fool not to. After all, Jell-O is such a delicious, delicately flavored dessert, and so colorful. You can make wonderful salads with it. And what's more, Jell-O is economical. You save money when you buy Jell-O.
How about this? A long-playing landlady.
Are you taking notes on this, Hope?
Sure, I've got 3 pages full.
All right, let's hear them.
Okay, here's page 1. Remind Dolores that now is the time for Jell-O. Page 2. Try Jell-O salad for Saturday lunch. Page 3. Get new combination lock for the Jell-O cupboard.
A new combination lock.
Yeah, the other night I found one of the kids standing by the Jell-O cupboard, sandpapering his fingertips.
Oh, you're some detective. Hope you'll never learn how to catch a crook.
No, but I sure know how to hold a sponsor.
All right, come on now. Let's get on with this investigation. Ladies, so far all we have is your word that you were out shopping this morning. That's not good enough. Can you prove that?
Why, sure. I've got the proof right here in this shopping bag.
Now, let's see it.
There.
Yeah, looks like Jell-O to me.
Looks like money to me.
That's all, ma'am. We won't need you anymore.
Thank you. Bye, Mr. Friday.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Hope.
Goodbye.
Bye, Mr. Dean.
Don't wait for an answer.
There's a nice old character.
Yeah, real cool Grandma Moses.
Well, we got work to do here.
Yeah, let's go downtown and report.
January 25th. 5 days went by. No break at all. Every decent lead washed out. 1 p.m. Captain Detective Kresnick sent for us. Hope and I walked down the hall to his office. Well, looks like we're stuck.
Yeah.
Tough case. Yeah. Develop anything in those runs you made over at the lab?
Not much. I processed the M.O. of the DOA without getting a make. Then I ran a 184 through the LP file and tried for a COA on the PD.
What does that mean?
I was hoping you knew.
Well, here we are. Let's go in and get it over with.
Come in.
Captain?
Well, Friday, Hope, what about it? 5 days have gone by. I haven't made any progress.
Now, this case is a lulu. Not one decent lead.
Well, there was some evidence. What about the fingerprints found on the scene?
They turned out to be Officer Hope's, sir.
There were some footprints.
Officer Hope's, too, sir.
And a handkerchief.
Officer Hope.
Well, what about the pretty blonde girl in the silk wrapper across the hall? Well, I'm not on duty all the time, you know.
Well, we'll keep trying, Captain. Just give us a few more days. We'll break the case.
We've got to have action. The pressure's on.
Yes, sir?
The mayor's on the commissioner's neck, the commissioner's on the chief's neck, and the chief's on my neck. If the top man can juggle, it's a wonderful act.
All right, let's go, Hope. In police work, you take the tough with the good. This case was one of the tough ones. But just when it looked bad, we got a break. Through an informant, we learned the murdered man had a girlfriend. She was a singer in a joint over on the east side, the Kit Kat Club. 11:31 p.m. Hope and I got a squad car and headed for the Kit Kat Club. Down through Lower Main Street, the toughest section of L.A.
Not very classy, is it?
Skid Row. Cesspool of the city. Gin mills, hot shops, flea-bag hotels. This is the bottom. Nobody lives down here but the cheap crooks, winos, and stumblebums.
Would you mind stopping at that next house?
What for?
I want to see if I got any mail today.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you weren't kidding. I can always tell a wino by the way he walks on his heels.
Careful or I'll breathe on you. But I really did live in a tough section like this when I was a kid. I'd be a member of a gang of pickpockets right now, except my mother wouldn't let me join.
Well, you were smart to listen to her.
I had to. She was the boss of the mob. There's the place in the corner, the Kit Kat Club.
Now, watch your step in here. There may be fireworks.
Don't worry. Let's hope to have a steady eye. My grandfather used to shoot a hole through the ace of spades at 100 yards.
Well, that's pretty good.
It's the best that's ever been done with chewing tobacco.
All right, here's the door. You go first.
You're the sergeant. You go first.
All right, come on. Hey, mister, you the manager of this place?
That's right. What? Oh. Officers, so step up to the bar. I'll pour you boys a drink.
Oh, no, thanks. No, thanks. No, thanks. Well, just a little one. This will be the first highball ever served in an oil drum.
All right, let's skip the drinks. We're on duty. Kind of a tough joint you're running here, mister.
It's the best around here. Drinks are only a dime. We serve free sandwiches. And every time someone's shot in here, we pay their funeral expenses and $10,000 to the widow.
How can you afford to do that?
We're a subsidiary of General Motors.
Now, look, we want to talk to a girl you got working here. Your singer.
Hey, Miss Whiting's about to do a number.
All right, we'll sit at one of these tables and wait till she's finished.
If I am fancy-free and love to wander, it's just the gypsy in my soul. There's someone calling me from way out yonder. It's just the gypsy in my soul. I've got to give vent to my emotions. I'm only content having my way. There is no other life of which I'm fonder. It's just the gypsy in my soul. Just the gypsy in my soul. There's someone calling me from way out yonder. It's just the gypsy in my soul. No cares, no strings. It's gonna have wings. That's why just the gypsy in my soul, in my soul. It's just the gypsy in my
Oh, Miss Whiting?
Yes.
Like your song. Can we have a word with you?
That's the trouble with working in a dive like this. You guys are always trying to make a pickup.
No, you got me wrong, ma'am. We're police officers.
Then why is this other guy kissing my shoulders?
You got me right. I'm a wolf.
I'd like to ask you some questions, miss. Mind if we step into your dressing room?
Come on. It won't take long. I'd like to change my clothes.
Go right ahead. Don't mind us. Sorry to inconvenience you, ma'am. We're investigating a crime. That's right. I want to ask you a straight question, and I want a straight answer.
Yeah.
Where were you Thursday night around 11 o'clock?
I was shooting pool with some of the boys.
Not you!
It's none of your business where I was.
How old are you?
22.
22. According to our records, you have a son 19 years old.
I married young.
Glad to know you. I'm from Tennessee, too.
Well, I don't know what this is all about, but I assure you I have nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah, I wish I could believe that, sister. You got a record as long as my arm. In 1946, you were arrested for rolling a drunk.
With my boyfriend, and he wasn't drunk, he was plastered.
The charge says you were rolling them.
The only way I could get him home.
I think we're making a mistake, Sarge. She's just a sweet kid. She can't be mixed up in this.
Are you kidding? 16 stolen cars in the last 5 years, 4 mink coats, 5 diamond wristwatches. Why, this dame will go for anything that's fast and loose.
She will? Stay right here, baby. I'll go home and get my straw hat and send cents.
Now, you listen, sister. A boyfriend of yours named Barney Dean was knocked off a few nights ago. You still haven't told us where you were last Thursday night.
Why don't you guys wake up? I was singing right here in this club in front of 50 witnesses.
We checked the girl's story. It was true. Another lead gone. We reported back to headquarters. 12:25 a.m. We entered Captain Kresnick's office.
All right, you said you had something. What is it?
I broke the case, Captain.
You did?
Well, we couldn't get it because it's so obvious. Now, think back. Everything points to one man. I hate to say this, Captain. The guilty man is one of us. He just joined the force.
Gee, I wonder who that could be.
All right, Hope, you can start talking anytime.
Are you kidding? I had nothing to do with it.
What about it, Hope? Yes, spill it. Let's have it.
Okay, you got me. You admit you killed Barney Dean? What else can I do? I know you've been watching me. Watching, waiting for my nerves to go to pieces. All right. I'll talk. I'm cracking.
Look, please, just crack. Don't come all apart.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be messy. Hope, how did you know Barney Dean? Well, he was the manager of the Paramount Theater where our new picture, The Road to Valley, is playing. I have to kill him. Why? Because he did a terrible thing. Why? He did a horrible thing.
Well, what was it?
An awful, unforgivable thing. He deserved to die.
Oh, stop this, Hope. What did he do?
On the marquee of his theater, he put Crosby's name ahead of mine. Well, that just about winds it up, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Jack Webb, star of Dragnet, for being with us tonight. And I hope the police departments that were listening in will forgive me for joining them temporarily. It was all in fun. I know we all appreciate the great job those boys do for us. Every man who wears the badge of law risks his life for us every morning when he goes to work. These are the guys who hold the line on the home front, protecting our children, our homes, our communities. They deserve all the support we can give them. Thank you.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. After weeks of investigation, a suspect in a burglary is picked up. You've got the evidence for a conviction, but over $200,000 in loot is still missing. Your job? Find it.
It was Saturday, March 5th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We're on our way back from the cell block, and it was 9:45 a.m. when we got to the interview room. Felony section.
I'll get the light.
Come on in, Bowen. Sit down.
Over there.
You want to smoke? Here's a light. You want to talk to us this morning? You're not doing yourself any good this way, Bowen.
We checked your apartment, Bowen, found a set of tools our crime lab says are the ones used in the Hendricks job.
We can put you in the front room of the house. You're dead, Bowen. Why don't you admit it? This is the first time you've been nailed for anything big. You go along with us, and the judge might take it into consideration. If we have to write it up this way, he's liable to throw the book in your face.
Who was with you on the job, Bowen?
We know you didn't swing it alone. Somebody had to carry the light.
Come on, who was?
All right, what about the loot? Where's that?
That stuff's not going to do you any good in the joint.
There's over $200,000 in furs and jewelry missing. We know you had it. Now, where is it?
How about it, Bowen? You're just causing yourself a lot of grief.
Okay, let's go. On your feet. Come on.
Too bad, Cop.
Is that so?
Sure. There's nothing you can do to make me tell where the stuff is, not a thing.
Sure.
You're never going to find out where it is. Never.
Well, it really doesn't make a lot of difference.
Hmm?
You're never going to use it. 3 weeks previously, on February 10th, 2 unidentified persons had entered a home in the Bel Air district. They'd taken furs and jewelry valued at over $200,000. The investigation conducted by burglary detail had netted one of the suspects. He was identified as Cade Bowen, WMA, 32 years. His arrest record had listed several charges of drunk driving and disturbing the peace. However, he'd never been picked up on a felony before. In spite of our efforts, we'd been unable to break him down. He refused to identify the other suspect or to tell us where we could recover the stolen goods. All of his friends and relatives were questioned. None of them could aid us. The case on him was prepared for the district attorney's office, and we continued to look for the other suspect. Monday, March 7th, 8:02 a.m., I checked into the squad room.
That you, Joe?
Yeah.
Hey, you're late.
A couple of minutes, yeah. I got it. Burglary Friday. Oh, yeah, Emery. Mm-hmm. Sure. No, not a sign of it. Well, we'd like to hear it anyway. Where can we meet you? Where? Yeah, all right. We'll be right over. About 5 minutes. Right. Goodbye. It was Emery.
Who?
Emery Docks. Says he wants to see us.
What about?
Some stolen fur coats. Frank and I left the office and drove over to see the informant. We found him in Pershing Square watching a checker game.
Just a minute, Joe. I'll be with you.
All right.
No, not that one. Always does it. Okay, let's go. Always the same with that guy.
Is that right?
Yeah, always the same. Set him up that way and he'll jump. As soon as he does, game is over. He can't see it, but it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Real pigeon for the setup. You can sit over there and talk.
You know my partner, don't you, Emery?
Yeah, sure. Hi.
How you doing?
Not too bad. Guess you can't win them all.
Mm.
We can sit there.
What do you want to see us about?
Oh, fell over something day before yesterday. Thought maybe it'd make sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
Met a guy who had some coats for sale. Price he was quoting had to be hot.
Where'd you meet him?
Bar over on First.
See a friend?
Not to make a touch. I see him in the bar once in a while, but he don't ever buy a drink.
Mm.
Other night he got real palsy-walsy. I don't know, maybe he was gassed or something. But he sure was friendly.
You met him in the bar?
Yeah, he stopped in to have a belt before I ate. This guy was there, sitting on the stool next to me. Got to talking. He almost knocked me over when he bought a drink. Right on the floor, he knocked me.
Mm-hmm.
One thing led to something else. He asked what I was doing. I said, oh, just about anything to turn a buck. He asked me if I had any money I wasn't using. I said I didn't.
Yeah.
He said it was too bad. Said if I could raise a couple of long bills, he could turn me on to something good.
The coats? Huh?
Yeah. Told me how a friend of his came up with these fur coats, wanted to dump them, said the price was real good.
What kind of coats were they?
Mink. Full length. Had a couple of those scarf things, too. He said they were Stone Martin or something, you know, where the skins look like they're biting each other.
Yeah.
Like those, Stone Martin, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Guy made a big thing about how the price was right, and if I had any loot, I could come out with a big thing.
Did he say where his friend got him?
No. Matter of fact, I don't think there was a friend. Coats were in his car. I know if I had that kind of merchandise, I wouldn't put it in nobody else's pocket, that's for sure.
What's this fellow's name, do you know?
Jarvis Dean.
That's D-E-A-N?
I guess so.
What do you know about him?
Oh, not much. I told you I see him around. He's an angle fella, always looking for a touch.
He hold any kind of a job?
Not so it would stand out.
How's he live?
Oh, off other people mostly. Once in a while he makes a big score and he's popping for drinks all over the place. A couple of days he's blown the wad and he's back on the dole.
You know where you can find him?
I can't give you no address.
Usually around the bar?
Mostly. You won't find him there for a couple of days now, though.
Hmm?
You said something about going out of town, down to Palm Springs. Something about how he could make a contact down there and unload the coats.
This Jarvis Dean ever been arrested?
Well, I don't know. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about jails. Figures, though.
What do you mean?
The way he talks, some of the people I've seen him with, 6'2" and even, they can draw your floor plan of the laundry up at you.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us the name of the people?
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'd rather not. They ain't done nothing to me, and I'd like to keep it that way. Some of them are pretty mean.
Yeah.
You understand, it isn't that I'm afraid, but I don't see no reason to stir nothing up.
Mm-hmm.
Does Dean say where this contact was at Palm Springs?
Oh, he mentioned some bar called Spanky's, that's all.
In the town itself?
Yeah, I guess so. When I couldn't spring the money to go with him, he kind of cooled off. You know, he stopped being real friendly.
Mm-hmm.
I got to thinking about it and figured maybe it'd mean something to you, so... Well, the guy goes around with a couple of grand of furs in his car. He didn't win him in a raffle. Got to be something there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you any good?
Yeah, we'll check it.
When I first heard about it, I thought it'd do some good right away. I thought of you guys right away.
Yeah.
I always like to try and help when I can.
Mm-hmm.
No, it works out both ways. Maybe you can give me a hand sometime. You know, like now?
What?
I could sure use a couple of bucks. Things ain't been going too good.
No, that's too bad.
It's just temporary. It won't last. A couple of days, I got a job coming up. Hotel over on Wilshire. Pearl diving. Guy's been drafted, and I'm in line for the job in just a couple of days.
Well, I only got a couple of bucks, Emery. You can have them if it'll help.
Sure do anything at all.
There you are.
Thank you. Hey, you got a pencil?
For what?
Pencil. Got one I can use?
Yeah, here.
I always like to keep these things legal. You never know.
Good.
There you are. My IOU. Pay you back as soon as I start to work.
Well, don't worry about it, Emery.
No. You gotta do these things up legal.
Can you tell us what this guy Dean looks like?
Yeah, you think there's really something to it, huh?
We can check it.
Well, sure figures he stole the coats, and then he reasoned he'd want to give them away if he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Guy like that, he don't do nothing for nothing. Got to be a payoff somewheres.
Well, then he won't be disappointed.
Huh?
There'll be one. Frank and I got the description of Jarvis Dean and the car he was driving, then we returned to the office. We had the name run through R&I, and we found a record. The mugshot was pulled and shown to Emery Docks. He said it was the man who tried to sell him the coats. We put out a local broadcast and an APB on the suspect and his car. 11:25 a.m. Cade Bowen was questioned again, but he refused to give us any information on whether or not Dean was his accomplice in the burglary. At 2:30 that afternoon, Frank and I met with Captain Bernard in his office.
You think it's the Hendricks loot?
Should be. We've checked around. There haven't been any other thefts that are covered.
Got the list?
Yeah, here.
Thanks.
Now you can see right there, Skipper. 2 mink coats, 1 stone marked scarf.
Mm-hmm. What about the jewelry?
Well, he didn't say anything about it. Doesn't mean it's not there.
Mm-hmm. What about this bar in Palm Springs you mentioned?
Spanky's?
Yeah. You know anything about it?
We know where it is.
What kind of place is it?
Resort town bar.
What about the reputation?
Clean. We never had any reports about it.
Uh-huh. You think that's where they'll turn the stuff?
Well, we don't know. All we got's the name.
Someplace to look. One we've had.
You can't get anything out of Bowen?
He won't even admit he's in Los Angeles.
What's he got to say about the evidence?
Just sits and looks at it.
And Palm Springs is the only lead you got?
That's it.
Okay, trot it down. Can you leave right away?
I can. How about you, Smith?
Just call Faye.
That's it, then. Go on down there, see what you can find out. Be sure to check with their department. They might have something for you.
All right.
When'll you be back?
Well, if it works out, should be sometime in the morning.
Check with me as soon as you get in.
Yeah.
This fellow Dean got a record?
Yeah, assault 211.
Sounds like he might be heavy.
Possible.
Well, take it easy.
Yeah.
He's the fellow you're after. He's not going to want to give that stuff up.
Well, that puts it on our backs. We got to convince him. Frank and I went down to the carpool and checked out a trip car. 2 hours later, we pulled into Palm Springs. We talked with the local authorities. They had nothing on Jarvis Dean. As far as they knew, there was nothing wrong with Spanky's bar. We got the address of the place and drove over. Yeah, what'll it be? Police officers. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, L.A. cops, huh? Something wrong?
I would like to ask you some questions.
Sure. Come on back here. It'll be easier to talk.
All right.
Well, what can I do for you?
I'd like you to take a look at these pictures. Tell us if you know this man.
No, I never saw him.
How about this one?
Sure. Yeah, he's been around.
Is he here now?
No, he doesn't usually make it this early.
You seen him at all today?
He was in this morning around 10 in there.
You know where we can find him?
What's he done?
Police business.
Well, just so it doesn't get anybody here in trouble. That guy's a real crackpot.
What do you mean?
He's lonely. He's good business, but if I had my druthers, I'd just assume he stayed away.
Why is that?
Well, the way he acts. We got a lot of big people coming here. You know, the picture crowd, a lot of money. They like things quiet. They come down here for a rest, and that's what they want. A guy like that fella, they don't help.
All right.
Sure, he gets gassed, makes a big noise all about how he's buying drinks for the house. The customers don't like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The drinks aren't bad enough, but he's got to start a pitch.
What do you mean?
I've been trying to set something up, some kind of a deal.
You know what it is?
No, I don't pay a lot of attention. I just hear him talking to some of the people. Gets any worse, though, I'm going to have to 86 him.
Does he come in alone?
Sometimes.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a chick he brings in once in a while. The two of them just sit there and drink.
You know her?
Why, is she in trouble?
Do you know her?
Yeah, her name is Blanche. She lives down here.
She around?
She was.
When?
About half an hour ago. Said she was going out to get something to eat. She'd be back.
You know where she went?
No, half a dozen places inside a block she could have gone. If you want to talk to her, the best thing would be to wait right here.
All right.
She was carrying a real load when she walked out. I hope that food helps her.
She said she lives down here.
Yeah, she's got a place out the south end of town.
What's she do for a living, you know?
Well, I don't know. I don't think she's got a job. Seems I heard her say she was divorced. Probably got a chunk of dough from her old man.
She and this fellow pretty friendly?
You mean the guy in this picture?
Yeah.
I guess you could say that. Most of the time they're together.
How often is he here?
Oh, he comes in the place almost every night, you know, when he's in town.
Is that quite a bit?
Yeah, 3-4 days a week.
You ever hear what he did for a living?
No, I don't think he works steady. Hey, there's your girl now.
All right. What do we drink, huh?
Yeah, Blanche, a couple of fellas here want to talk to you, honey.
Oh, that's all? Bring them on. I always like to talk to fellas. If they're friends of yours, old Bart, I know they're okay.
Yeah, sure, Blanche.
Are these them? Hey, now, they're pretty nice looking. You know that, fellas? You're pretty nice looking.
Wonder if we get to a booth, might be a little easier to talk to you.
Oh, same to you. I'll talk right here. I won't say a thing. What's your name, honey?
Friday.
Say, that's a funny name. Like today, huh?
That's right. It's my partner, Frank Smith.
I do.
Oh, come on now. Don't try to pitch that at me. Smith. That's a phony if I ever heard one. Hey, Bart.
Yeah, Blanche.
How's that drink? Can't stay here all night, you know.
Do you think you had enough of that?
No. You just keep your big yap shut.
You better take it easy, Blanche.
Take it easy, nothing. Ain't no fellow with a name like Friday and Smith gonna tell me not to have a drink. They're a couple of phonies, that's what they are.
All right,
Phonies.
just settle down now. We're police officers.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Well, I'm the Queen of Sheba. How do you think of that? What do you think of that, Mr. Phony?
Come on, Blanche. You better quiet down.
Don't yell at me, you bartender. You got any class at all, you keep these mashers out of here. A fine, lousy bar you're running.
Let's go outside, lady.
You just try and take me out there. You come another step, I'll knock your head off.
Blanche, please, honey, take it easy.
All right, miss, you said enough. Now let's go outside.
Oh, sure. Yeah, a big picture of that. Me going out there and you two can gang up on me. No, that's N-O. I ain't going no place with you.
You got it wrong.
I have I? Well, I'll just show you. Police! Police! Somebody help!
We are the police.
You want another cop? Help! Police!
Sit down.
All right. I know what I'm like. You don't have to shove me around anymore. Just leave me alone, that's all. Just leave me alone.
You got some hot coffee?
Yeah, sure, I'll get it.
Bring it back to this booth here, will you? Come on, everything's going to be all right, lady.
No, it isn't. Not ever again. Not ever.
All right, sit down there. There's a handkerchief.
Thanks. I never did anything like that before.
That's all right.
I guess I'm arrested.
Not yet.
I didn't mean anything by it. Nothing. Just I didn't know you guys, and then I was a little drunk. Just all of a sudden I wanted to hit something, that's all. Just hit something. You were handy.
Here's your coffee.
Thanks.
You want cream or sugar?
No, but...
Anything I can do for you?
No, that's all.
I'll be up front if there is.
All right.
Go ahead, miss. Try the coffee. Might make you feel better.
Oh, it's hot. I'm sure sorry about hitting you.
That's all right.
Really? It's nice of you to say so. What were you going to ask me when all this started?
You want to take a look at this picture here and tell us if you know the man?
Sure. I guess I owe you that. Is the guy?
Yeah, that one there.
Sure, it's Jarvis.
Last name Dean?
Yeah.
What do you know about him?
Guy. Had a couple of drinks with him.
You know where he is?
Not now. Saw him this morning. Had a cup of coffee. Haven't seen him since then.
Is he still in town?
I don't think so.
You know where he is?
No. Said he'll run up to L.A. on some business.
Did he say what kind of business?
No. We didn't talk much about that.
You got any idea where Dean was going in L.A.?
He didn't give me an address.
Did he say when he'd be back?
That's what we had the beef about. He just shoved off. Said something about meeting the guy up there. Said this fellow's in some kind of trouble, and he had to try and square it.
Did he say who it was?
Let's see.
I'm not sure I can remember.
It's pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Now, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. It was Bowen. Yeah, I had to see a guy named Bowen.
You say what it was about?
No. I can remember. He told me that he and this Bowen guy were on a deal together. Bowen had lost it up.
Mm-hmm.
Said he had to take care of him.
The description of Dean's car that the girl gave us matched the one we'd gotten from our informant. We checked the room he'd occupied in Palm Springs. We talked to the local authorities. They agreed to check further on the suspect. Frank and I left for Los Angeles. The following morning, we contacted Captain Bernard.
It all goes together.
Huh?
You better find him fast.
Why, something wrong?
I don't know, but it could happen.
What do you mean?
Bowen was released on a writ last night.
Additional bulletins were gotten out on both men. Bowen's house was put under surveillance, and all of his known hangouts were watched. 2 days passed without word. And then on Thursday, March 10th at 10:57 a.m., Frank and I got back to the office from checking out a lead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Note in the book for you. Important.
Thank you.
What is it?
Supposed to call the sheriff's department.
Wonder what it is.
I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Well, I didn't figure you would, Joe, not until you made the call. Just wondered what it was.
Dave Terry, please. Well, Dave? Joe Friday. No, we haven't. Where? Any idea when that happened? No, we better come over and see you. Right. Bye. We're in trouble.
What do you mean?
I don't know. They found a body out on the desert this morning. Looks like it was a hit and run.
Bowen?
No, Jarvis Dean. Frank and I left the office and went over to the Hall of Justice where we met with Sergeant Dave Terry. He showed us the photographs taken at the scene and the reports filed by the officers who discovered the body. From the appearance, it had been struck by a car traveling at high speed. A thorough search had been made of the area, but no trace of Jarvis Dean's car could be found. There was no apparent explanation as to how he'd gotten out on the desert. Another local and an APB was gotten out asking that Kate Bowen be picked up for questioning on suspicion of murder. A week went by. There was no word of the suspect. Border stations had been alerted in the event he tried to escape into Mexico. Checkpoints at the California-Nevada border had descriptions of both the car and the suspect. Saturday, March 19th, Frank and I got back from the stats office.
Well, it's another dead end.
Yeah.
Where to now?
Well, we can check with the skipper, see if he's got any ideas.
All right.
Come on in. Where you been? Been looking for you.
Stats office. They just finished a run. They didn't come up with anything.
You don't need it.
Huh?
You got half the country looking for Bowen, and he's in your pocket.
What do you mean?
Main jail. Picked up last night in 502.
Kate Bowen had been picked up the night before at the corner of 7th and Hill Streets. He'd been observed by a radio car driving in an erratic manner and had refused to stop when the officers directed him to. After a 10-block chase, he'd been halted, but when the officers asked to see his identification, he told them he didn't have any. He was taken to the main jail and booked on charges of drunk driving. A check of his fingerprints had revealed his name, and we were notified. His car had been impounded, and the crime lab was going over it. We had the suspect brought to the city hall.
What is it this time? I held up the Federal Reserve?
All right, come off it, Bowen. You know where you're sitting now. This is the last time around for you.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
You won't hear it again.
Where you been for the last week?
Sleeping.
All right, now, where?
Any place I could find a soft mattress? Hey, you guys ought to pull some strings and get some new bedding over the main jail. Those bunks are hard.
Sure. You know a man named Jarvis Dean? Jarvis Dean, do you know him?
Might.
That's no answer.
That's the best I can do.
Look, mister, we're getting tired of playing with you. You're in trouble, and it doesn't come in any bigger sizes. Now, I'm not going to tell you to play it smart because you wouldn't know what I was talking about, but you snap to and answer these questions. Now, do you know Jarvis Dean?
I met him.
When'd you see him last?
A couple of weeks ago.
We understand he was with you on the burglary.
It's a fairy tale.
We got it straight.
I didn't know you listened to gossip.
Where'd you get the car you were driving last night?
I bought it.
From who?
Used car dealer.
Well, then you tell us why it's registered to Jarvis Dean, will you?
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Last time we talked to you, it was for a burglary beef. It's a lot more serious this time.
That's so.
That's right. Suspicion of murder.
Who'd I kill?
Jarvis Dean.
You're out of your head.
We always are. Now tell us why he let you drive his car.
I don't know if it is his car.
Department of Motor Vehicles says it is.
We checked it. All of the stolen merchandise was found.
Now, you got no right to go through my things.
Last time we heard of the stuff, Jarvis Dean had it.
What's the matter? Did you have a fight about what to do with it?
Maybe you got sore because he was letting you carry the beef yourself. That what happened?
Come on, Bowen, you're boxed in.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, let's check the office, see if there's any word from the crime lab.
I'll do it.
Tell you what, cop.
Hmm?
You win, I'll tell you.
About Dean?
I don't know anything about him. I'm talking about the burglary.
Yeah.
I did it. You don't have to go any further.
No deal. We got you on something bigger. I think we can make that hold up.
Look, I'm willing to cop out to the others.
How'd you do?
Well, here's the report.
Well, that wraps it up.
Yeah?
All right, Bowen, let's go.
Huh?
We don't have to talk to you anymore. The crime lab just finished going over the car.
Yeah?
They found where you had that fender repaired.
Well, some drunk ran into me.
They checked the springs underneath, found traces of fabric, matched the jacket Dean had on when he was killed.
We got enough to make you on it.
You can't prove I was driving the car, and there's no way you can prove it.
We think we can.
Go ahead. You just take it into court. Try. By the time you get through, the judge and the jury will be laughing.
Is that right?
Sure, they'll tell you how far out you are. They'll laugh right in your face.
They'll tell you something, too.
Yeah?
And they won't be laughing.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 16th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Cade Neil Bowen was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. On recommendation of the jury, he was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, San Quentin.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the material and direct quotations included in the following program have been taken from authoritative files and from dispatches filed by the Associated Press and International News Service. We present these statements without editorial comment. We assume no responsibility for their content.
The American Broadcasting Company presents 1 out of 7. 24 hours make a day, 7 days make 1 week. And from these past 7 days, the editors here in our San Francisco newsroom have chosen the one story which they have judged most worthy of retelling. This is 1 out of 7.
Theodore Gilmore Bilbo is an honorable man. As a member of the United States Senate, he is looked upon as such by the eyes of the law. Perhaps he is looked upon as such by many or most of his constituents. Though his voice occasionally grate upon the nerves, and his views often confound the innocent, the fact remains, as a member of the Senate of the United States, Theodore Gilmore Bilbo is an honorable man, and we do not intend to prove otherwise. We merely wish to cite a few samples of his handiwork, and perhaps a supplementary side glance or two, just for the sake of contrast. Adjust your dials most carefully, citizens. Herewith presenting Senator Theodore Bilbo, picture number 1. Scene, the chamber of the Mississippi State Legislature. Time, March 23rd, 1944. The speaker.
The chair recognizes our distinguished guest, the Honorable Theodore Bilbo, United States Senator from the state of Mississippi. Gentlemen, at this moment, I cannot urge you too strongly to continue the valiant fight to uphold our racial integrity. We must renew our faith and allegiance to the color line. For your information, I've found that certain Negro organizations are determined to secure passage of anti-poll tax measures. It's their first wedge toward the fulfillment of a dastardly equality program which Negro leaders have launched throughout the South and throughout the nation. That equality they must not and will not attain.
After his stirring appeal to the legislature, Senator Bilbo informs a small group of friends in confidential tones.
You know, gentlemen, I found out that a prominent national official asked southern colleges and universities to open their doors to Negroes. You know what I told him? Well, I'll tell you what I told him. I said, Negroes will never get into our universities. You Negro-loving Yankees can go straight.
As a member of the Senate of the United States, Theodore Bilbo is an honorable man, and we do not intend to prove otherwise. Here is picture number 2.
Hello. Senator Bilbo speaking.
Senator, this is Representative Mark Antonio of New York speaking.
Yes. What do you want?
Senator, I just got a letter from a lady who lives in my district. It seems that she wrote you that letter about your filibustering against the FEPC. Well, she says she stated her case fairly. And she also says that as a reply, you wrote her one of the dirtiest letters possible.
Well, yes, I think I did.
Well, Senator, she also says you addressed her with the greeting, "My dear Dago." Is that correct?
Of course that's correct. That's what I called her. She's a wop, ain't she?
That lady's Italian, Senator. If that's what you mean. I just thought you'd like to know that the lady has 3 brothers in the Army in Europe. One of them has been killed in action already. You know, if you had a shred of decency in you, you'd apologize for that letter.
I'll never apologize why she's getting off light. Now, listen, she really would have been scorched if I was mad.
Theodore Bilbo is an honorable man. We do not intend to prove otherwise. Here is picture number 3. Scene, the chamber of the United States Senate. Time, the 30th of June, 1945. Senator Bilbo is filibustering against passage of the Fair Employment Practices Commission, and during his prolonged dissertation to the gentlemen of the Senate, the following occurs.
The senator from Mississippi may continue. Thank you. Gentlemen, I have been hearing much talk about the supposed bravery of our Negro soldiers. I have it on good authority and from some of the highest-ranking generals in our army that our Negro troops overseas are an utter and abysmal failure. They're just no good. And as for giving them a vote, why, they'd only sell their votes to the highest bidder anyway, so why give it to them in the first place?
At the same moment, deep in the jungle of an embattled Pacific island, a Negro soldier pens a note back home to his family. And maybe this work's pretty hard, Margaret, but it's a job that you just have to do. It's been 3 days now. Got no sleep. Their bombers are still paying us visits. And it still doesn't look like the war's going to be over soon. But we have to keep on. Just keep on. I know. I just know everything's going to turn out all right. And when we finally get back, the folks will realize what we've done. And I'll bet they look at us differently. You know, for the first time, they'll see that bullets can kill anybody. They'll see, black or white, when blood runs out on the ground, it's all the same color. That's what the Negro GI thought. But back in the chamber of the United States Senate, Theodore Bilbo thought differently.
I have it on good authority and from some of the highest-ranking generals in our army that our Negro troops overseas are an utter and abysmal failure.
When Senator Bilbo made that statement, he was standing under the roof of the United States Senate. It is very safe in the United States Senate. A bomb hasn't fallen there for quite some time. You must understand, please, this is merely a portrait, an interesting portrait, of a duly elected representative of the American people. For you see, Theodore Bilbo is an honorable man, and we do not wish or intend to prove otherwise. Here is picture number 4. Though the senator has firm convictions on certain subjects, there is seen a mounting tide of sentiment equally firm, equally convinced that the senator errs. On the 10th of August, 1940. Senator Bilbo, it is the opinion of the Committee of Catholics for Human Rights that your conduct toward racial minorities is a chilling deterrent to worldwide belief that America is the symbol of democratic freedom and human rights. In a recent statement to the press, you attacked the Jewish people of the United States on the grounds that their race had damned and crucified Christ. You used this highly metaphysical argument to damn, vilify, besmirch, and otherwise persecute the Jewish people in America to further your own political ends. By lucid contrast, a few days after his attack on the Jews, Senator Bilbo is stricken suddenly with a strange ailment. He is put aboard a train and speeds northward for treatment. And is it not strange that the senator demands to be taken to the Mayo Clinic? Is it not strange when you consider that the Mayo Clinic was founded and operated by the Mayo brothers, 2 members of the Jewish race professing the Jewish faith? But obviously, the senator is not loath to take advantage of the skill of the Jewish race. In the end, the senator's critical operation is a success, and in a few weeks he returns to the floor of the Senate with another plan for the American Negroes.
Gentlemen, for the best interest of the nation and all concerned, I believe a colony for American Negroes should be established on the west coast of Africa, bordering the state of Monrovia. because of the exigencies of the times, any Negro who is race conscious and smart should be ready and more than willing to settle down in such a colony in West Africa.
The very same day in the halls of the Senate, hallowed by the figures of men the likes of Lincoln and Jefferson, Theodore Bilbo, as a representative of the American people, had this to say.
I cannot vote for the appointment of Mrs. Franklin Roosevelt as delegate to the United Nations Organization for the United States. No. She is a woman who has professed friendship for the Negro elements in America. She has no place representing us abroad. Mr. President! Mr. President! The chair recognizes the senator from Idaho. Mr. President, I should like to congratulate the senator from Mississippi. He doesn't know it, but he just paid a splendid compliment to Mrs. Roosevelt by voting against her. Mr. President, gentlemen, please, I'd like to add one more note. A word of warning to our senator from the South. It isn't going to be long now, Senator, before the people of Mississippi see the light and knock you out of office on that part of your anatomy where your few brains are undoubtedly located.
You must understand, please, this was merely a portrait, an interesting portrait of a representative of the American people. For, after all, Senator Theodore Gilmore Bilbo is an honorable man. He is looked upon as such by the eyes of the law. He is an honorable man. We did not intend to prove otherwise.
The script for 1 Out of 7 is written by James Edward Moser. Gil Dowd is the producer, and music by Otto Clare at the Hammond organ. The material used in tonight's program was taken from authoritative files and from dispatches by Associated Press and International News Service. Listen next week, same time, same station, for
1 Out of 7.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. You get a report that a teenage boy has been found in a downtown alley. He's in critical condition. Your job? Check it out.
It was Wednesday, November 16th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. We're on our way into the office, and it was 9:17 p.m. when we got to the second floor of Georgia Street Juvenile. The squad room.
I don't know, Joe.
What?
You see a kid like that, you start wondering.
Yeah.
15 years old, trying to hold up a liquor store. Kind of worries the guy.
What do you mean?
What about your own kids? How are they going to turn out?
Well, most of them turn out okay.
Yeah, can't help worrying, though.
Well, you're a father.
Maybe you're better off, Joe, not having the worries.
You really believe that?
Well, I guess so.
Well, why don't you stop trying to marry me off?
Oh, say, that reminds me.
Yeah.
You know the Phillips, live down the street from us?
I don't think I do.
They were over for dinner the same night you were.
Yeah.
Last summertime, Faye made fried chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Remember it?
I remember the chicken. Go ahead.
You're going to spend Christmas with us, aren't you?
Christmas.
Faye told me to be sure and remind you. It's only a month or so off.
That's soon, huh?
Yeah. Can we count on you?
Yeah, if we're not working.
Swell. I'll let Faye know.
What's this got to do with the Phillips?
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got nothing to do with them, Joe. Why are you so darn suspicious?
Which one of them has the sister?
Huh?
Come on, Mr. or Mrs., which one?
Both of them, for all I know.
Well, which one has a sister who's coming out here for the holidays? Which one?
Mrs. Phillips.
And they're all going to be at your place for Christmas dinner, is that it?
Well, Faye hasn't asked them yet. She wanted to be sure that you...
Mm-hmm.
Okay to ask them?
They're your friends.
You won't regret it, Joe. You know Mrs. Phillips is darn nice looking. Good talker, too. If her sister's anything like
Just
she
do
is.
me one big favor, will you?
What's that?
Christmas is still 5 weeks away. Don't start selling me now.
I wouldn't try to sell you on any girl. You know that.
You bet.
I never even met this one. I was just thinking that sometimes you can kind of sort of judge a person by family and...
Funeral Friday. Where's that? I see. Yeah. Found a kid lying in an alley off Sheridan Street. He's hurt pretty bad.
An accident?
Knife in his back. Frank and I drove out to the address where the victim had been found. It was a dark alley that opened onto Sheridan Street in the block between 5th and 6th. An ambulance had been called, and the boy had already been moved to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. 9:42 p.m. We talked to one of the patrol car officers who had discovered the body.
We're only a couple of blocks away. We headed right over.
Where'd you find him?
Yeah, I'll show you. Right here against that wall.
Mm-hmm.
Must have lost a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Knife still in him?
Mm-hmm. Small of the back. Looked like he'd been beat up, too.
You say anything about who did it?
Well, he mumbled something. We couldn't understand him, and then he passed out.
How old would you say he was?
Oh, 15, 16, maybe. He's a good-looking kid, about 5'8", black hair, blue eyes, regular features.
What kind of clothes?
Jeans and a jacket, windbreaker type.
See anybody around who might have done it?
No, not a soul. The street was deserted.
Mm-hmm.
My partner's out looking now. I'll give him a hand.
All right.
Who filed a complaint?
I don't know.
Well, we checked the board.
I'm afraid that won't help. Well, they don't know either.
While a patrol car officer searched the neighborhood for suspects, Frank and I canvassed the area for the person who had reported the crime. 10:16 p.m. We talked to the patrons in the nearby bar and grill. They denied having any knowledge of the assault. 10:42 p.m. We entered a small tobacco shop on the corner of Sheridan and 8th.
Evening, gents.
How are you, sir?
All right. What can I do for you?
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Sam Crest here.
Mr. Crest?
Something troubling you fellas?
I'd like to talk to you for a minute, that's all.
Done anything I shouldn't?
No, sir, not as far as we know.
Well, you never can tell, you know. The way they keep making up new laws nowadays, a person can be a criminal without even half trying.
Mm-hmm.
Too many rules. That's what's wrong with this country. Too darn many rules.
Yes, sir.
Ought to be just one.
How's that?
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Golden rule. That ought to be more than sufficient.
Yeah.
Don't work out that way, though. A man could live up to it every day of his life and still wouldn't keep him out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
Golden rule don't say nothing about paying income taxes or taking out licenses or filing Social Security reports. Well, does it?
No, doesn't seem to.
But you're in jail if you don't do them.
Yeah.
Man can live by the golden rule, don't make no difference.
It makes a difference.
Oh, some maybe, but not enough.
Have you been here all evening, Mr. Crest?
Since supper time.
When was that?
6:30. Eat at the drugstore over on Soto Street. Stop serving food at 7.
I see, sir.
What time did you get back to the store, do you remember?
Oh, 5 odd, maybe.
And you've been here ever since?
Sure. You ain't doubt my word.
No, sir.
I tell the truth, you know.
Yes, sir.
May not get all of my government forms figured out right, but I'm a truthful man.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody suspicious come in here tonight?
Suspicious?
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid you'll have to explain that. You see, I ain't no policeman. Folks don't look suspicious to me. They just look like folks.
Well, any strangers, then?
Sure, lots of strangers. 8 or 10, maybe.
I see.
Strangers to me, leastways. I don't get acquainted with folks easy. Man comes, buys a pack of cigarettes or some tobacco. Don't make him a friend.
Well, now, sir, had most of tonight's customers been in before?
Oh, some of them had, yes. Some of them hadn't. I don't keep track.
I see.
Did you hear anything out on the street?
Traffic. Folks walking by. You fellas sure ain't very specific.
Well, anything like a fight?
Front of my place?
In the neighborhood.
Well, I didn't hear no fight. Somebody get to mixing it up?
Looks that way.
Oh, yeah, that's the trouble with this world. People always squabbling. Wherever you go, whatever you do, it ends up in squabbling. Who was it?
We don't know yet.
Anybody hurt?
Yes, sir.
Well, probably brung it on himself.
Maybe.
Were there any youngsters hanging around your place tonight, Mr. Crest?
Youngsters?
Teenagers?
Well, if there was, I didn't notice them. Kids, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, I just don't know what we're coming to.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. All right.
Good night, sir.
There was one.
How's that?
One young fella. He didn't hang around, though. He was in a big rush.
You know him?
No, I don't think I ever saw him before.
Could you describe him for us?
Oh, just an ordinary kid.
How big was he?
Oh, not big. He come up to about here on me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably don't have his full growth yet.
I see. You recall how he was dressed?
Well, I didn't pay much attention, only in the shop a couple of minutes.
What color was his hair?
Light, reddish, or blondish.
Nice-looking boy?
Oh, no better or worse than most.
What time did you see him?
Must be nearly a couple of hours ago, along about 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Come charging in all out of breath.
Yeah.
Asked if I had a phone. I pointed out the booth over there in the corner.
Go ahead.
Well, there's nothing more to tell. He run over to the booth, made a call. Wasn't on the phone more than a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Then he come out and left the shop.
Anything else you can tell us about him?
I don't think so, no. Except that when he was leaving, he wasn't in a hurry like when he come in. He sort of peered out the door first.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed as though all the steam had gone out of him. He looked back over his shoulder.
Yes, sir.
Doggonest expression on his face.
What do you mean?
Like he was scared to death.
While we're in the tobacco shop, we telephoned Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and talked to Dr. Sebastian. He told us that the victim was in a critical condition and had been moved to General Hospital. He also told us that they'd not been able to identify the boy. We called General and asked to be notified when he was able to talk. 11:31 p.m., Frank and I went back to the office. Homicide was notified. Patrol car officers who had discovered the body reported that they had not found any suspects in the vicinity of the crime. 11:46 p.m., we checked with the crime lab. An examination of the weapon had revealed no useful fingerprints. It was a spring blade knife with an 8-inch blade. 12:02 a.m., Frank and I went off duty, and another team of detectives continued the investigation. The next morning, Thursday, November 17th, 8:12 a.m.
Morning, Joe.
Hi.
Anything new?
No, not so far.
How about missing persons?
Nobody's reported them.
It's funny. You'd think somebody'd be looking for him by now, his folks or somebody.
Yeah, you would.
Mm-hmm. Any coffee and that thing?
Yeah, help yourself.
Right.
Probably cold by now.
Better than nothing.
Did you miss breakfast?
Yeah, I wasn't hungry.
Oh.
You're right.
Huh?
It's cold.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
About Christmas.
What about it?
Well, we won't invite Mrs. Phillips' sister if you don't want us to.
Mm-hmm.
No. I got thinking last night people shouldn't force a guy to get married and raise a family if it's against his best judgment.
Well, who's getting married and raising a family? It's just a Christmas dinner, huh?
Yeah, but you know Faye.
Well, you know me. I got it. Juvenile Friday. Yes, sir. All right, sir. Thank you very much. General Hospital, the boy's coming, too.
Yeah? We talked to him?
Yeah, for a minute or two. We better get a move on.
Oh?
Doc said to hurry. Frank and I drove out to General Hospital. The doctor in charge of the case was waiting for us in the hall outside the patient's room.
Nothing fighting?
Yes, sir. Is it all right to go in?
Don't stay too long.
All right.
You going to be all right, Doc?
It's too soon to tell. If the wound was an inch higher, I could give you an answer.
Yeah?
You'd be dead.
We went on into the room. The shades were drawn and the victim was in semi-darkness. His eyes were open, but he closed them as soon as he saw us enter.
How you feeling, son? Son?
I'm okay.
I'd like to talk to you for a couple of minutes.
No way of stopping you, is there?
What's your name, son?
What's yours?
Smith, Frank Smith. My partner's Joe Friday.
Cops?
That's right. Well?
Well, what?
How about telling us who you are?
I forgot.
Oh.
You know, amnesia.
Yeah.
How'd you get hurt, kid?
Forgot that, too.
We're trying to help you, son.
Not my fault if I don't remember nothing.
You know you're pretty sick.
Sure.
But it's not amnesia.
You a doc?
No.
And you tell what's wrong with me.
Who knifed you?
Now, what happened?
Come on, what's your name?
Abraham Lincoln. You guys can call me Abe.
All right, we'll find out.
Go ahead.
What were you doing on Sheridan Street last night?
That where I was?
You want him to get away with it?
Who?
The fellow that stuck a shiv in your back?
Now, who'd do a thing like that?
That's what we want you to tell us.
Hey, you know what?
Hmm?
It's all starting to come back to me.
Tell us about it.
There was this black sedan, see?
Mm-hmm.
Great big job.
Yeah.
I was walking along the street. Sedan pulled up beside me. 12 guys jumped out.
Yeah.
Told you it was a big job.
Mm-hmm.
6 of them tried to grab me.
All right, that's enough.
But you want to know what happened? They was all wearing masks.
I said that's enough.
Sure.
Now, you listen to me, son. We're going to find out who you are and who stabbed you.
Sorry, I ain't in a position to offer a reward.
You want your face in all the newspapers?
What for? I ain't important.
I said we're going to find out who you are. Well?
Okay, if you want to play detective.
Let's have it.
Tom.
Tom what?
Marcotte.
Where do you live?
Diamond Street.
What number?
Apartment house, corner of Diamond Olympics, second floor in the back.
Now, suppose you tell us what happened last night.
Guy jumped me, that's all I know.
Who was he?
I don't know. I never saw him before.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
What did he look like?
I don't know. It was dark.
Somebody your own age?
Heck no.
How old was he?
30, 35.
Why'd he pick you?
I don't know. Must have thought I had some dough.
You never saw him before.
That's what I said.
How tall was he?
I don't know.
Did you get a look at his face?
Uh-uh.
Can you tell us anything about him?
Nope.
But you know how old he was.
I got a feeling, that's all.
Yeah. Where do you go to school?
Taylor High.
What year?
10th.
Any gangs in your school?
I don't know.
You don't belong to one, do you?
Nope.
You had any kind of trouble lately?
What kind of trouble?
With the other kids at the school.
Didn't you guys get anything straight? It wasn't a kid.
Mm-hmm. Who do you live with, Martha?
My old man.
Where's your mother?
Under a tombstone.
We'll get in touch with your dad.
What for?
He might be worried about you.
Want to bet?
We were unable to get any additional information from the victim. We went back to the office and checked the name Tom Marcotte through R&I. They had nothing on him. 9:47 a.m. Frank and I drove out to the address he'd given us. It was a 2-story stucco apartment house, badly in need of repair. We went up to the second floor.
Must be this one.
Yeah.
Don't hear anybody. Take it easy, will you? All right. What's all the pounding for?
Marcotte?
Yeah?
We're police officers. Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Well, what do you want?
Come in for a minute?
If you don't, I'm going to fall flat on my face. Oh, boy. My head's coming apart in shreds.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tied one on last night.
That's so.
Haven't got an aspirin, have you?
No, sir.
Right not. Can of beer?
No.
No. That's what I really need. Usually keep a couple in the refrigerator for an emergency like this.
Mm-hmm.
But that kid of mine's been guzzling them again.
We'd like to talk to you about your son, Mr. Marcotte.
Yeah?
You know he didn't come home last night.
Didn't he?
Nope.
No way of me knowing it. I work nights, drive a hack, don't get home before 5. He leaves for school before I wake up.
I see.
What'd you pick him up for?
He's not under arrest.
Huh?
He's in the hospital.
Hospital?
That's right. He was stabbed last night.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's going to be all right, ain't he?
They don't know yet.
Oh.
We thought you might be able to help us.
Help you?
Yeah. Find out who did it.
You know who your son's friends are?
I don't know nothing about him. We aren't very close.
Has he been worried lately about anything? Upset?
No more than usual.
How's he doing in school?
Lousy.
Oh.
They always ask me to come down and talk to him. Principal, his teacher.
What do they say about him?
I don't go.
Mm-hmm.
I went a couple of times when he first came to live with me. Didn't do any good.
That's so.
I can't change him. Anything I tell Tom just rubs him the wrong way. So he's on his own.
How long has your son lived with you?
3 years.
How about before that?
He was with his mom.
Yeah.
She divorced me a couple of years after he was born. Took him with her.
Mm-hmm.
When she died, there was nobody else to look after him. He had to come back to me.
Yeah.
I gotta get me a glass of water. Only take a second.
Yeah.
Looks like the kid was right.
Huh?
How'd his father?
Maybe.
He doesn't seem very upset.
No.
He just got to stop his drinking.
Yeah.
Never used to feel like this when I was younger.
Is that right?
We'd go on a bath for 2-3 days, come out of it and feel okay. Can't take it anymore.
Well, sir, we'll be leaving. If you'd like to see your son, he's at General Hospital.
Tom asked to see me?
He's pretty sick, Marcotte.
You talked to him, didn't you?
That's right.
He asked to see me?
No, he didn't.
Didn't think so. I guess I can't blame him for hating me. He figures I didn't want him after his ma died. Figured I had to take him.
Yeah.
Tried to tell him different. He didn't believe me. We just can't talk, Tom and me.
Mm-hmm.
Father and son living in the same apartment. Like we speak a different language. Think I ought to go down and see him?
Well, that's up to you.
Be nice for me. It's funny. It was somebody who hates you, your own son.
Well, maybe you're wrong about him.
Yeah, I see it in his face, his eyes, the way he talks. Every time I look at him, I can see it. Tom's the one who's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not his fault, but he's wrong. You wouldn't believe it on a stack of Bibles. Even you guys don't.
What's that?
That I love him.
Frank and I drove out to the Taylor High School on Grand Avenue. 10:57 a.m. We interviewed the principal, James Wingor. He told us that Tom Market was a poor student and that he was difficult to manage. He also told us that the boy had a good mind and was capable of much better work than he performed. He was unable to throw any light on the knifing and suggested that we talk with the victim's homeroom teacher, Miss Nora Rollins. 11:16 a.m. We interviewed Miss Rollins in a small room which adjoined the principal's office.
I'm supposed to be giving an English examination during this period, Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am. This will only take a couple minutes.
You have a student named Tom Marcotte?
Certainly, he's in my homeroom.
What kind of a boy is he?
Noisy, lazy, impossible to discipline. Similar to a number of the others.
Mm-hmm.
He's absent today, though.
Yes, ma'am, we know.
Something happened to Tom?
He's had an accident.
An accident or a fight?
Why do you say that?
It'll be the first time.
Has he had any fights lately?
Came to school with a cut lip 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Does Tom have any particular enemies?
I really don't know. There are over 75 students in my homeroom. It's a little difficult to know very much about any of them.
Yes, ma'am.
How about friends? Who's he pal around with, do you know?
Nobody in particular, as far as I can tell. No, wait a minute. There's one boy.
Ma'am?
Arthur Jollett.
What does he look like?
He's small, red-haired, almost as troublesome as Tom.
Is he in school today?
I believe so.
Well, ma'am, is there anything else you can tell us about Tom?
No, except that I don't have much hope for him.
How's that?
I've asked his father to come in and see me several times. So far, he's always declined the invitation.
Yeah.
Is Tom badly hurt?
Yes, ma'am, pretty bad.
What was it?
Knife wound.
No. 17 years ago, when I first started teaching, that would have shocked me.
I see.
It was a very naive young lady, Sergeant.
Is that right?
I thought all a person had to do to become a teacher was to take the right courses, get a degree, and a credential.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed such a simple matter. I wanted to teach English literature, so I studied English literature. Shakespeare, Chaucer, Browning, Keats, Shelley.
Yes, ma'am.
As I continue in the profession, I discovered that I omitted one essential course.
What's that?
Judo.
We asked Mr. Wingor if we could interview the student named Arthur Jollett. He asked his secretary to have the boy sent in to us.
Sounds like he's the one who called in the report.
Yeah.
Must have been with Marcotte when it happened, huh?
Come in.
You want to see me?
That's right. Come in, son.
You're Arthur Jollett, huh?
Ain't that who you asked for?
Sit down, son. We're police officers. This is Smith. My name's Friday.
You have a friend named Tom Marcotte?
I know him.
Pretty good friend of yours, is he?
He's a friend.
You been with him lately?
When?
Yesterday, day before?
Sure.
Where?
Here. We've got some of the same subjects.
How about after school?
Uh-huh.
You saw him after school, did you?
Night before last.
Last night, too?
Uh-huh.
Where were you last night?
Movie.
Well, who'd you go with?
Went along.
What movie?
Double bill in Hollywood.
What'd you do afterward?
Hitched a ride home.
Spend any time around Sheridan Street?
Where's that?
You want us to show you?
Huh?
Come on, we'll take you over there.
What for?
I'd like to have you meet a man who runs a tobacco shop in that part of town.
You kidding or something?
Young fella came into his place last night.
So?
The way he described him, it could be you.
You must be blind or something.
Well, let's find out. Come on.
Come on.
Okay, so maybe I was in his neck of the woods. What's the beef?
Your friend Market was around there, too, wasn't he?
Coincidence.
Yeah.
What's the matter with Tom, anyhow?
Why?
He ain't been in school today.
He's in the hospital.
Oh.
Good thing you called us when you did. He might be dead by now.
Who says I called you?
Man who runs the tobacco shop?
How the heck could he tell it? Well, I mean, who I was calling.
All right, Jollop. Give us the whole story now, will you?
What story?
Come on, let's get it over with.
If it's about Tom, ask him.
We're asking you. You want us to take you in?
Of course not.
It's up to you.
Ain't much to tell. Just walking around, Tom and me.
Yeah.
The fellow jumped out from an alley, came at us with a knife.
Go ahead.
Took a swing at Tom. I ducked off.
Yeah.
Called the cops. That's all I know.
Who was it, Jollop?
Your guess is as good as mine.
We don't think so.
Suit yourself.
I thought Tom was a friend of yours.
He is.
Well, we want to know who stabbed him.
What do you expect me to do, dream up a name?
How big was he?
Medium size.
How old?
19, 20.
Tom says he was about 35.
Tom ought to know. He's a lot closer to him.
All right. Let's go down to the juvenile bureau.
Before I told you everything I know.
Want to show you some mug shots.
Forget it. I wouldn't recognize his picture.
Let's give it a try anyway.
I'll take it easy, will you?
What's the matter?
I don't want to be seen leaving with you guys.
Is that right?
Wouldn't do my reputation any good.
Who are you afraid of?
I ain't afraid.
The guy who knifed your buddy? Is that who you're afraid of?
Look, if Tom wanted you to know, he'd have told you, wouldn't he? Tom ain't dead.
All right, come on, Jello. Let's go.
Give me an answer. Is Tom okay or not?
Does that make any difference to you?
Sure, it makes a difference.
It doesn't look like it to us.
I'm no squealer.
All right, you've had your chance. Now you gotta go in. Come on.
You can't arrest me.
A boy was stabbed last night. You saw it. As far as we know, you're the only other person who was there. Now you figure it out.
I didn't have nothing to do with it. Tom will tell you so. You throw me in jail, my old man will kill me.
Well, that's tough.
I ain't going to take the rap.
It's up to you.
Okay, it was Jerry.
Jerry who?
Longren.
You go to the school?
Yeah.
What was it all about?
Tom tried to date Jerry's girl. Jerry heard about it. Followed us last night.
I'll get a hold of Longman.
All right.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Jerry finds out I squealed on him, he'll do even worse to me. He ain't going to find out, is he?
We won't tell him.
If it tumbles, you can start sending flowers. Jerry's the big man around school.
Yeah.
Or 6 foot, lots of muscle, lots of shove.
Well, that doesn't make him a big man, does it?
Huh?
He needs a knife.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 2nd, a hearing was held in Juvenile Department, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Petitions were filed on both the victim and the subject. The victim, Thomas Marcotte, was placed under 24-hour supervision in a foster home. The subject, Jerome Longren, due to a previous juvenile record and the viciousness of the attack, was sentenced to a juvenile correctional establishment.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Novak. For hire. Sure. Contact Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's up there in block letters, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, good printing doesn't mean a thing. You get that on a death certificate. If you're trying to make a living down here, you're not going to have any standing in the community except in a police lineup. I rent boats and do anything else that goes with a weak will and a strong stomach. Well, it's not all bad. Once in a while, something happens that makes you feel good for a moment. Like remembering somebody you kissed a long time ago. But most of the time, you buy your beer the hard way. It works out all right because most people learn to fall in love with a dollar bill and forget about trouble. And everything sounds all right, but sometimes it isn't. Like saying Happy New Year to a lifer. I found that out Wednesday night. I was sitting in the office with a sports page reading about those big tears that Washington senators were shedding when I saw Crockett Odom for the first time. He was a big red-faced guy, and the veins stood out on his face and made a pattern as if he slept on an alligator bag instead of a pillow. He walked over to the desk and started to get quiet in a loud voice.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Novak.
Go ahead, pile up a lead.
My name's Odom. You've heard of Crockett Odom.
I don't get around. Tell me about it.
I'm a lawyer. I want you to watch a client for me. Her name is Wendy Morris.
Is she hard to watch?
You can get bloodshot eyes just looking at her. She drinks a little.
What's a little?
How should I answer that?
Any way you like. A pint, a quart. What's a little, Odom? Is she a dipso?
We'll leave it there. She can make a quart of gin disappear while anybody else is looking for the corkscrew.
Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do? Hide the bottles?
Mr. Novak, a full-grown octopus couldn't do that. I'm afraid this is more serious. It involves her husband.
Let her take a drink and lose him. It'll save you money.
It involves her husband or somebody who's supposed to be her husband.
Well, she's got a bad memory?
She's a very wealthy girl, Mr. Novak. 5 years ago, she married a man by the name of Stanley Morris. Immediately after, he went into uniform.
You make it sound selfish.
She's been gone ever since until a month ago. Spent most of that time overseas. The rest in a government hospital.
Yeah?
Now that he's back, something very peculiar has happened. I don't think the man is her husband.
Well, that's a hard part to play. She got any theories?
I think she suspects, too. I don't know why I feel that way. He seems to have picked up where he left off. Knows everything about her. Seems normal, but I'm sure the man is an imposter.
Look, Odom, find a corner and patch up that story. You can't get that nearsighted on 5 years' booze.
You don't understand, Mr. Novak. He was seriously injured. That makes identification hard.
You think Stanley Morris is dead?
I think he died somewhere along the line. This man took his place.
That's a lot of trouble just to share a board and room with a boozer.
Not if he can share it with someone else on her money. That's why I want you to watch her, particularly tonight.
Why tonight? Is Stanley full of temper?
It's been leading up to this. He wants her to go to a gambling club. And I know he's too friendly with the owner of the club. I want you to go along as a friend.
Now, look, mister, I wouldn't go as her friend to a masquerade ball. If you're making a deal, make it out in the open.
Do it your own way, Novak. It's $300. Earn it any way you can.
Yeah. Where's the club?
She'll take you. Just pick her up at this address.
Mm-hmm. Does she know about it?
She'll understand you. In fact, that's the only risk you run. I told you she drinks most of the time. But when she doesn't, you're the type she gobbles up.
Yeah, I'll bring some cheese instead.
That won't do any good. It's not the flavor she likes, Mr. Novak. It's the crunch. Good night.
When Odom walked out of there, I knew he was the kind of a guy who'd put the wolf at your door if he could get one wholesale. On the way up the pier, he stopped and looked out at the bay as if he intended to do away with it before morning. And then he turned and disappeared around the corner. Well, I sat there for a while, and I went over his story. I was sure it wouldn't hold any more water than a grocer holds, but I had no way of checking. Finally, about 7 o'clock, I closed the office, and I went by the address he gave me. It was a modernistic apartment up on Telegraph Hill, one of those places where they let a guy out of a basement long enough to paint murals on the front. This one had a guy waving a blonde wig in front of a tired old monk named Faust. Wendy Morris' apartment was up on the second floor, and when I rang the buzzer, she opened the door with a nice, easy motion, like a cat getting ready to eat its young. I could see right away what Odom was talking about. If you ever build a house, you'd want somebody like her in the blueprint. She leaned against the doorway, and she was wearing a crepe evening gown that was supposed to let you know that nature had given her a square deal. She didn't say anything at first. She just kept fingering her glass and looking at you as if you knew she was full of gin and comfort.
It makes a nice rattle. Are you Mr. Novak?
Yeah, I rattle, too. Invite me in.
I bet you do. Come in.
Yeah.
So you all paid to like me. Will a drink help, Mr. Novak?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'll get some for you.
No, this will do.
What did Crockett tell you?
He said you got thirsty.
Did he mention men? Crockett thinks they're related. His sole confession of the medical profession.
You mentioned your husband. Where is he?
I thought that was the problem.
Sounds phony. There must be a way to spot old husbands.
How?
I wouldn't know. Do you think Stanley Morris is dead?
I don't know, Mr. Novak.
Do you care either way?
As long as I'm safe, no. Stanley was no bargain.
Why'd you marry him?
I don't know. I suppose I confused the hangover with love.
Well, he sounds exciting.
About as lively as a dish rag in a steam bath. It doesn't make any difference now, Mr. Novak. I'm frightened. You've got to help me.
You're in for $300, that's all. Where is this gambling joint?
Out on Gary Boulevard. It's called the Mother Lode. The sense of humor belongs to Frankie Fannin.
Is he funny enough to deal with Stanley?
I don't know. Stanley's been out there every night for 2 weeks. Now he's forcing me to go. There must be a reason.
There must be a reason for what?
Don't tempt me, Stanley. This is Mr. Novak, my husband.
I never heard of you, Novak.
You got me worried.
He's a friend of mine.
What does he do, drive a beer truck?
My husband is being scuffled, Mr. Novak. You're going with us, Dan.
We don't know anybody well enough to take him with us.
You don't have to feel burdened. I'll take him.
Aren't you wearing out that leash?
Now, look, mister, I'm here on a straight deal. Cash and carry, and your credit's through. From now on, that mouth of yours costs you dough.
Go ahead and pout, Dan. You look better with your lip turned in.
All right, if you like and he goes, I'll have to make another reservation. Hand me the phone, Novak.
Yeah. Here.
Thanks. Let's go, Wendy. Your friend backed out.
I hope they got a good price for my head, because when I started down, shoulder blades were the best I could do for height. I rolled over once, and then I stretched out on the floor as hard as a piece of chewing gum on the theater seat. I don't know how long I chased that woman in the bathing suit. Must have been about an hour when the phone began to ring. I tried to get up once or twice, but I couldn't get the boxcar off my chest, and the phone kept ringing like a piece of crystal in a hailstorm. I finally made a ladder out of my knees and got to the phone. Yeah.
How's your head?
It's a little right. What's on your mind?
Something's gone wrong. I have to meet you.
Not at these prices.
I just got a message from Crockett Odom. I'm leaving now. I want you to meet me in room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
Where is it?
Third-rate trap on Powell Street. It's important. Will you come?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your head. I'll have to rub the bruise for you.
Wait till I get there. You can rub one of your own. She was right about that hotel. In a good season, they couldn't have drawn transient mice. I got there about 9:45. I rode up to room 314. There was nobody there. So I sat down and started to wait. The floor was quiet, except down at the end of the hall, somebody was playing a phonograph record. The music was thin but loud, and I knew they were old records, way back when this bird Bix was a man instead of a memory. It stopped after a while, and I looked at my watch. It was after 10, so I left the hotel and I went out to the gambling joint. I toured the room, but I couldn't find Wendy or Stan. I got a guy at the window, and he remembered somebody like Wendy, so I asked about her. He just pointed over at Frankie Fannin's office and went on making change. I crossed over and knocked at the door. The guy that opened it had a face like 3 pounds of warm putty. It was moist and pink, and he got the idea they put the color in with a spray gun. And if his heart was made of the same stuff, they drained the oil out first.
Yeah?
My name's Novak.
Who's arguing?
I want to talk to you.
Yeah?
Where's Wendy Morris?
I don't know.
She was in here tonight.
It's a jail term. I don't follow women home.
Am I supposed to buy that?
Look, Junior, I don't care whether you live or die. I haven't seen her.
How about her husband?
He owes me dough.
What else?
Ask his wife. He's an IOU to me. I don't know what you're doing here, but you better make your point fast.
Now, look, Fannin, if you got a party, I don't want to blow out the candles, but I want some answers.
Yeah?
She got boosted in here tonight. Why?
I brought her in for word games. I told her if her husband didn't square his fill, I'd work him into hamburgers.
Yeah?
She offered to bring the buns. Now, that's all the talk you get, mister. Tip the girl on your way out. I need the money. Come in.
Choose up and tell me which one's Novak.
I am. What's on your mind?
And the other guy's Lucky. I'm Craig from Homicide.
Where's Hellman?
He's got a mouth full of canary, Novak.
That's right. I just left room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
So did I.
2 of us made it then. The girl didn't.
Novak, he's trying to tell you Wendy Morris is dead.
How do you know she's dead?
the only reason cops prove.
You want to see her, Novak?
No. She was better alive.
Come on down anyway. Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
When I walked out of there, I felt like a voice teacher with adenoids. Whoever Craig was, he was smart, and he tagged all the bases because as we moved through the lobby, he motioned to me, and the desk clerk nodded. Well, I didn't worry about that desk clerk because he hadn't said no for years. But when we got to room 314, I needed China Passage. There were 3 or 4 of Craig's men grouped along the dim hall like dirty shadows, and inside, Wendy Morris was stretched out looking in the wrong direction. There was a white sheet draped over, and I wondered where the hotel had borrowed that, but Craig wanted to talk.
You must have had a big beef, Novak.
Sorry, we were friends.
I'll bet that was fun.
I was supposed to meet her here. She didn't show.
The desk clerk says she did.
Not while I was here. I was in that gambling joint by 10:30.
The desk clerk says you asked about Wendy Morris. Then you came up here and killed her. That's the way I'm going to book you.
Check on her husband. You can fit him in near the top of the list.
She got one? It's a lot of blonde hair to keep indoors.
Huh?
Good blondes run like salmon.
Wait a minute, Craig. Give me that sheet. Well.
Yeah?
Craig, you better not book me for Wendy Morris.
Huh?
If you do, you'll mix up all the on-duty angels because somebody killed the wrong woman. This isn't Wendy Morris.
You must be wrong. How do you know?
How does anybody know? They look different. They got different personalities. Take your pick, Craig, but somebody got the wrong woman.
Take another look.
I don't need another. With Wendy, the first look's for names and faces.
Yeah?
If you take a second look, mister, it's for love. I guess Craig liked to pick his dead because when he found out the woman on the floor was somebody else, he started to shake a little and his mouth hung open like a broken screen door. I didn't blame him much. I tried to think back and piece it together, but it wouldn't work out. It almost made sense, like the broken phrases of an old conversation, but not enough of it came back, and, well, there was still something missing. What happened to Wendy Morris, and how about this girl on the floor? Where did she get her drag with heaven? I looked down at her again. She was pretty, if you like quiet girls. She had a vacant look in her eyes as if the brains had checked out without letting her know. And the color was starting to leave her face. The light was bad, and you had to look close to see her skin. There were little splotches of pink, and the rest was white, like shrimp that hadn't been boiled long enough. Craig was worried, and that's something he couldn't hide.
Who is she, Novak?
I don't know, Craig. We didn't meet her soon enough to know. You should have checked.
The hotel register says Wendy Morris.
Who read it for you? Oh, you're tough, Craig. I'll bet you got the wino scared stiff.
Keep on talking. I'll get you some help. Come on in. He wants to make a statement. On the bed, Novak.
Where'd you get your boys, Craig? They look tired.
On the bed, Novak. All right, Joe, take his arm.
Yeah.
The other two, hold his head back against the bed.
Okay.
Where's Wendy Morris, Novak?
I don't know, Copper. You sure you're from homicide?
So it's against the law. Don't tell anybody. Now make a statement, Novak.
Yeah. Here's a statement about you, Craig.
We'll find out downtown. You can save some teeth. Where's the other girl?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Yeah. Where's Wendy Morris?
Craig, you can go.
Put his head against the bed.
It's for exercise now, Craig.
All right, he's not a season pass. We don't have to hang on to him.
Craig's boys left me hanging on the foot of the bed with somebody's dirty towel and an old garter the maid forgot to pick up last month. I felt my way down to the lobby and into the street, and most of the time, one question kept going through my mind. Craig was going to run me in before. Why had he changed his mind? Well, I found out when I started to turn the corner. Craig had a tail on me, and he was real hard to spot, like a red Nash at the top of the mark. He moved out from under a light near the pool room on the corner, and I watched him in the windows as we walked along. After a while, I quit worrying about him because I knew in a pinch he couldn't follow a conversation with a printed form. Well, I had a lot of ground to cover, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he was a smart one, too. until he found out if your eyes get red enough, you don't need rose-colored glasses. I finally found him at the cafe house, as tight as a tennis racket in the rain.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Some belated Christmas carols, Patsy. The piano player quit and everybody else dropped out, so I'm doing it a cappella by myself.
All right, Jocko.
Christmas eluded me, Patsy. I got up through Christmas Eve, and then I seem to have missed Christmas entirely. Did they hold it this year?
Well, it wouldn't happen if you'd get up in the morning.
I refuse to get up early, Patsy. I refuse to get up in the morning until the streets have been aired. The only things that should be around at that hour are peasants and a bunch of random dew.
Jocko, will you listen? I'm in trouble.
I'm not surprised, because you're a counterfeit, Patsy. You're a piece of plate in a room full of sterling. You're like some of the rest of these people running around in a hurry.
Jocko, please.
Just plunging into anything. Look at the papers. Some people have spent years shooting a rocket 110 miles into the air. What's the use?
Will you listen?
What's the use? When you get 110 miles up, all you can do is turn around and come on back down again. We're killing time 110 miles in the air instead of learning to spend it down here.
All right.
Oh, it's depressing, Patsy. Running around in a frenzy like a rooster in a barnyard full of ducks. I'm ready to take to drink.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes. Humanity's a tough life. What kind of trouble?
I bought a murder rap for $300.
Well, if it's a bargain, why complain? Who's dead?
I don't know who she is. Homicide found her in a hotel on Powell Street. I tagged by before the murder.
Serves her right. If I were a woman, I wouldn't trust you in the middle of Stanford Stadium with 80,000 people.
It was the wrong woman. It was supposed to be a gal named Wendy Morris, but she didn't show.
Oh, that was shrewd of her.
I was hired by a lawyer named Crockett Odom to watch her.
Why?
She's a dipso.
She must have some faults.
Odom suspects her husband. He was in uniform, and now that he's back, Odom figures he's a fraud out for the girl's money.
Can't the girl tell the difference?
She's not sure.
I don't think she was observant.
Now, look, this is a big story, Jocko. I can't fill in all the holes. You got to help me. I want you to check on Crockett Odom, will you?
I'll need some money.
Oh, you'll booze it away. Now, hurry, Jocko. If you need money, get a job.
Oh, I can't go to work, Patsy. I'm a victim of my own conscience.
Yeah?
I'm stuck with a dilemma. I'm willing to go to work, but I work too cheaply. And on the other hand, I'll not support slave labor. So it's morally impossible for me to go to work. Good night, lover.
It was about 11:30 when I left Jocko, and the two beatings began to catch up with me. I had enough headache to pass out to a Bay Meadows crowd on a bad day. The tail behind me began to look tired, so I dropped by headquarters to give him a rest. I asked for the head of homicide, but the desk told me that Hellman was on his honeymoon, and they kind of laughed when they said it, as if they thought he got the girl there on a bench warrant. All they'd done at headquarters was identify the dead woman. Her name was Emily Van Kirk, and she had no record. I dropped by the hotel, and the first break showed down there. The desk clerk knew about Emily Van Kirk. He'd mixed the rooms up, and he'd put Wendy in the wrong one. That meant that maybe she was at the hotel after all. It also meant that Emily was in the clear. She was just a girl on her way to Seattle, and she got a longer ride than she paid for. I called Wendy's, but I couldn't get an answer, so I dropped by my place to wait for Jocko. Stanley Morris was there, chewing his fingernails, and when I walked in, he was up to the wristwatch.
Mr. Novak, where's my wife? You're hiding her.
She's good enough to hide, but this isn't the night.
So where is she? She must have gone to you after that hotel.
How do you know she was there? Did you drop by, too?
Doesn't make any difference.
Well, it makes a big difference to me. We're all out of phones. Now tell me about that hotel.
Crockett Odom told me to come there.
Why?
I don't know. I was supposed to be there at 10:30. It was some kind of a crazy scheme.
Was the dead girl mixed up in one?
Sorry, it wasn't Wendy. Odom tried to break up this marriage. I wish he had.
You sound feeble, mister.
You don't know her the way I do. She's a cold-blooded animal. The only cold-blooded animal that doesn't bear fur.
You're building a case.
I don't know what'd have her around. I suppose you would. There's a certain localized beauty you'd go for, but nobody else would have her. They'd find out what she is, a puff adder with a good figure.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Huh?
We got company. Somebody's coming in the door. Watch it. There goes the light.
All right, stand back.
couldn't have died any faster with a priority. I got to the door and threw on the light switch, but whoever it was had gone, and the hall was dark. When I got back to Stan, he was lying there like a well-trained sponge. He wasn't a good enough guy to bleed in the living room, so I dragged him into the kitchen and left by the back way. I had to get word to Jocko, so I left a message at his place telling him to get in touch with me at Wendy's. I went up there to sit on her doorstep and wait if it took all night. I wasn't going to freeze, though, because she opened the door as soon as I knocked. She was still wearing that crepe gown, and she was yawning and stretching her arms. Oh, you might not want to bring her home to Mother, but you'd want to start anyway.
Do you always look at women this way, Patsy? I feel like Eve.
And I'll bet you get a kitchen full of apples. Do I argue or come in?
You may argue, but do it in here.
Yeah. When'd you get back?
Why?
Somebody just killed Stan.
If you're sure, the drinks are on me.
He didn't like you either.
We'd be even if he had anything to start with. Don't ever marry, Patsy.
Now, look, lady, I'm nursing a murder rap, and I need some answers. Was Stan a phony?
He's the same guy I married, if that's what you mean.
You weren't sure 4 hours ago.
I wanted an answer then.
What kind?
You're too far ahead, Patsy. Come to a trot and have a drink.
Lady, has anybody ever told you about a slow burn? I got one now.
I'll bet you have, darling.
Oh, this room isn't big enough for games, baby.
Give me a Patsy.
Go find a guy with a bag of wild oats.
Stop shadow boxing, Patsy.
All right, baby.
Patsy.
That's what makes the poor so happy. They don't have phones. Yeah.
Patsy, this is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Crockett Odom is in love with Wendy Morris.
Does it go both ways?
Well, different rate of exchange. I got something else, too.
Yeah?
Her will is a big temptation.
Go ahead.
If she bows out, all the dough goes to her husband. Maybe the guy is a fraud.
Oh, he's going to have it straightened out. What else?
The funny part of the will.
Uh-huh.
If they're both dead, all the dough goes to Crockett Odom. You better see him in a hurry.
Well, that doesn't make sense. If he killed her and got all that dough, it'd cost him that much to get another like her.
Maybe not.
Oh, you haven't seen her, Jocko. He wouldn't pass that up. She's nice and speedy.
Oh, I can explain that. When you're over 50, you don't mind the speed. It's the freewheeling you hate to think about.
When Jocko hung up, I knew we had a good pair of seats. That story of Stan's finally made sense. There was only one reason why he could have been called there at 10:30, and for the first time, I tumbled why Craig had let me go back in that hotel room. Everything was right in place, like a mixmaster in a bride's kitchen. I dropped by headquarters and left a note, and then the girl and I ran into Craig down at the desk. I briefed him on what had happened, and we rode up to Crockett Odom's apartment. When we got to the living room, things turned stormy.
Hello, Novak. It's too late to start a party.
You're going to like this one, Odom.
That's right, darling. You'll love it. This is Craig from Homicide.
He wants you for murder.
It doesn't sound right, Craig.
Novak's calling it. See him.
I talked to Stan before he died. He tipped your mitt, Crockett.
He couldn't tip a water glass.
He was smart enough to know you sent for him. That's why he didn't show at 10:30.
You better have it in writing.
No, I don't need it that way. I got Craig. He won't let you out that easy.
What's he talking about, Craig?
Homicide will shake him down too fast. You're with the walking dead now, Craig. I left a note. They know you killed the girl.
Are you crazy, Craig, to come up here?
I can't argue now. He's too lucky, Odom.
I got all sevens tonight, Craig. Crockett Odom sold you bad goods. He did everything wrong.
Thanks, Odom. I'm going to leave you, but don't let the bag get too heavy.
Now, wait a minute, Craig. You're not going to let me hang for this.
You won't. They'd burn in this state.
Stay away from that door, Craig.
Sorry, Odom. You dealt me in, but I got bad cards. I want to see you play them alone.
Can you get by this gun?
I'll make a try. Hang on to your skin. Give me a hand, Novak.
Yeah, anything to help you die. Here.
How's Odom?
He'll keep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Novak. What'd I do wrong?
Everything. But mostly when you let me go up in that hotel room.
Yeah. I should have pinched you then. I'm a tender-hearted guy.
You're a bum, Craig. I can move you down a step lower even. You're a liar. I checked. You're not working for the city. They never heard of you downtown.
I'm not going to make it, Novak. Lay my head down.
Yeah. I'll put it down easy. Goodbye, Craig. I hope you have a long night. If Craig made the morning, he had to cheat. They patched up Odom and got most of the story out of him. Jocko was right. Odom got tired of chasing the girl and went after the money instead. He drummed up that phony story to plant a reason for a quarrel, and then he tried to pay it off in that hotel room. He offered a cut to Craig for the heavy-duty work. Wendy was supposed to show up at 10:15. Craig would kill her and wait. When Stan showed up at 10:30, Craig was supposed to stage a fight and kill him. That way, he'd be in the clear, and so would Odom. They'd say it was a husband and wife quarrel, and Craig had a phony shield to back him up. Craig dreamed up that story about being a cop. But the whole scheme went haywire when the desk clerk mixed up the rooms. Craig killed the wrong woman, and Stan got there late. That's why he got scared when it turned out to be somebody else, so he let me go. Odom was afraid that Stan had showed up and knew the story, so he had a ticket right away. The guy who tailed me was handy for that. When did I first tumble to something wrong? When I was sure that Crockett Odom had told a lie. He said the girl was a dipso, but when I got there, she was drinking soda with her whiskey. And a good dipso won't waste that much time. Well, it worked out all right. Hellman was on his honeymoon, so he didn't have any questions. I'll bet his wife did.
Broadcasting Company for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.